I can't believe that worked.
You doubted my tech skills, my production skills.
No.
I beg to differ. I hear
No.
a little doubt in there.
I mean, that happens, dude. That's how it is.
You just wait till I get a mixing board someday.
Ooh. Um, yeah. So for those, well, let's get it started off correctly. Yo, 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 YouTube. Welcome back to the live show every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Myself, Charlie, JC3 Cards and Collectibles, and the Goats. Yeah, for some reason, I'm not quite sure what the motivation was, but for those of you who don't know, StreamYard switched it so that we couldn't have the two video presentations before the show. They only allow you one, which is basically a countdown. So we had to get creative, and Charlie, being good at all things, came up with an idea of how to just throw the other intro on a backstage, and then he just brings it up on the stage once the countdown's done. It worked out really well. I was impressed.
You always have that moment of concern, right? Like you can test it all you want, but
Right.
when you go live, you still have that moment of like, is it really gonna work?
Yeah. Well, and to that end, that's a good segue because we have some topics for tonight. Of course, we're going to use our kind of regular general layout. We've got a few topics we want to try to hit on, but we'll let the chat really dictate where things go. This is a show for all of you. So if you're watching this recorded, try to join us live 8 o'clock Central Standard Time every Wednesday. And for those of you here live tonight, please join in on the chat. It's way more fun if everybody's chatting. But to that end, live, one of the topics I want to talk about tonight was there's so much debate now about what's the best way to sell.
Yeah.
Is it live selling? Is it buy it now? Is it like standard traditional auctions? And part of what drives me for the topics each week is the conversations I see in the Discord and all the different back and forth and, oh, I'm new. What do you think about this? How do you do that? And there just seems to be a lot on this topic of, how do I list my cards for sale?
Yeah.
And so the other thing that sparked this was eBay is switching their standard auctions, their 7-day auctions or whatever you want to call it, to I want to say not sudden death format, I guess is maybe the better way to put it. So if it gets into that short time frame, 10 seconds or less, I think it is, and it gets a bid, they add time to that auction to allow other bidders. So basically killing the sniper programs, which as a seller, that's good because the snipers basically just come in and nick that last dime off or so and don't really provide you an opportunity to have true competition in your buyers bidding wars, no bidding wars. But obviously as a buyer, that makes it tougher because snipes were how you, I used a sniper forever. It was just common practice. Everybody had a sniper bot. But I think that's what kind of was the problem. So when it first started happening, not many people used a sniper. They would literally put on their calendar what time an auction ended and try to wait for it and make a bid. And but as bots became more the everyday thing, and a lot of stuff we do, most people were employing them. It freed up your schedule, right? You didn't have to sit there. Well, this one ends at 7 o'clock. As a seller, it started being nice too because you didn't have to end auctions at certain times to get peak eyes. You just had to list things correctly and make sure you had a long enough time frame on the auction so that people could put that item in their snipers.
Right.
But I think almost every auction site now does it this way. They do an extended bidding. That's what it's called, extended bidding. They do an extended bidding process because it's better for the money. right? It's better for the money. That's what it really comes down to. So the platform wants you to sell your card for as much as possible because they get it more money, obviously, if
Yep.
you sell it for more. So, I think it's smart. I think it's the modern way to do it. I think eliminating the snipers uh, creates a more correct auction structure versus nobody's participating in the auction. They just put it in the sniper. No one makes bids. Does I've had items where I've listed it at 99 cents for 7 days, right?
Mhm.
And maybe it gets that 99 cent bid. Somebody will just throw like the junk. Let's say it's $100 item, right? You start at 99 cents. You might get that 99 cent bid or even a $5 bid or something, just because somebody's like, well, I'll just put a buck on this thing. If it ends and nobody bids, I
Right.
get it for a good deal. But then there's no action for like all 7 days outside of that.
Yeah.
And then in the last, not even minute, usually it's within 20 to 30 seconds before you would get any more action. And then, now it gets bid up to $85 or, whatever it ends up, being right under retail or whatever it is. So it did seem kind of foolish to have these 7 day auctions and then no one bids anyway. What's the point? Um, and that even happens on like because what I list on auction every month is just stuff I'm getting rid of. So it's mostly cards I would just sell for $1 anyway. I list it for $1. But even with those cards, like I won't get any bids all 7 days. And then the last hour or two, because I don't even remember when my auctions are ending, to be honest with you. And all of a sudden I'll look and I'll be like, oh, I have like 6 items with bids. I guess I have auctions running. Because to me, it's just inventory blowout, really. Just getting some action. But even with that, where it's literally only going to get a 99 cent bid, I still don't get bids until the last couple hours. Um, so a 7 day auction. I mean, the whole idea behind it originally, why it worked originally, was it gave enough people time to get eyes on it, so you would
Mhm.
get participation in that auction. And the way the process was supposed to work is what you're supposed to bid whatever is the top price you would pay. So you didn't need to snipe it. You didn't need to wait around to the end of the auction. If it was $100 item, max you would pay was 85. You would bid $85. But nobody does it that way.
Yeah.
Nobody does it that way. You get that $1 bidder, that $5 bidder, whatever it is on the super low end, and then everybody else just feeds it to a sniper.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
so I feel like that's the right approach. It's definitely from eBay's perspective. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Um, as mostly a seller on there, I used to buy a lot on eBay, but I haven't. I've been mainly getting inventory from buying collections and at shows and that kind of thing. But so as a buyer, I could see like, oh, man, this sucks. I got a lot of those on a snipe, and now how am I going to get these steals? But I think it's a way for eBay to also compete a little bit with live auctions. There's a little bit more action. Um, Sometimes on live auctions, items go for more than they should, right? Just because you have that bidding action and the fear of missing out, and I got to be the winner, and there's part of that plays into it. And their old auction format just didn't do anything with that. You got bots fighting bots. Like there's no human really participation at the end of an auction in most cases, and that's what you need to have. You have to, for as much as we just do online and we let a computer take care of it, you have to have human interaction with it, or it's not going to succeed. Um, so that's my thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on the eBay auction portion of this discussion?
Yeah, I think it'll be good in the end, and it becomes more of the standard now. That's become the standard across different platforms, I think, and what buyers are expecting. Of course, it'll be better for sellers because now, your winning bids are. I would expect the average winning bid to go up.
Yeah,
Um, so I think it's a plus for most people, even even people that were sniping and are a little upset. I think over time they will learn to adjust, and it'll be just fine.
Yeah, and like you said, it's kind of the norm everywhere else. So
Hmm.
it's not like they're trying something. This has been done.
Yeah.
Um,
And you can
like
still put in a max bid so
you
that,
can, right? You can
if
still do
somebody
it.
else tries to get in there and get it, you can have a higher level set so that, what do you
Mhm.
call that? A proxy bid or whatever?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, I think there'll be more proxy bidding because of this, because you really can't use a sniper. So if you want to participate without watching it, that's how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes back to the way it kind
It
of
was
feeds back into
intended.
the how, yeah, the way they
Yeah.
wanted to do it,
Yeah.
minus this, what I call sudden death, where timer runs out, that's it.
Yeah.
Um, now you've got that extended bidding. Think about like, and I never really thought about it before, but this popped in my head, and I think I heard another content creator talking about it. But think about like a regular auction, in-person auction, right? So you go to the auction house, you get your paddle, and they go, 2,500 going once, going twice, and then someone bids. Well, they don't just go, okay, well now that guy gets it. They go, okay, now we're at 3,000. Anybody 3,000? Blah blah blah. They do all their fast talk jive stuff or whatever, but
Yep.
um, they keep it right now. You say now it's at 3 grand. All right, does anybody else want to bid? Does anybody else want to bid? Does anybody else want to bid? No, okay, going once, going twice. Oh, we got 3,500. Like they don't end it
Yeah.
when somebody comes in to bid on the third gavel strike, right?
Yep.
You extend that bidding because you could potentially get more money. Like it doesn't make sense. And honestly, that's part of the responsibility of the auction house, which eBay is technically an auction house,
Yeah.
as much as it's different from other auction houses. But their job is to get a seller as much money as possible, right? It's pretty simple. They are the commission, the platform, whatever you want to call it. They're the ones that are trying to connect the seller with the buyer. So they're supposed to try to get you as much money as possible, which in turn gets them as much money as possible as well, of
Right.
course. Um, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. I don't know. Is it even deployed yet? I don't. I had auctions on, but I don't watch them. I just list them, and I don't really participate in
That's a great question. I have not
eBay auctions.
participated in any eBay auctions in a while. I was just thinking to myself, it's kind of ironic. Um, so there's a couple of whatnot sellers that I return to when I go out there. I'm not out there every day, but a couple times a month I maybe source some inventory out there from some sellers I enjoy listening to when they're selling. And one of them is the sudden death auctions, and that's part of my draw to it. That if I can get in there the last second with the best bid, it's mine.
Hmm.
And I actually get kind of frustrated when I'm like, damn it, that's all the higher I can go and still make money on this, but other people keep it going with another 10 seconds, right? So
Hmm.
um, so even as a buyer, I'll have to adjust as well because I
Right.
think we're going to see more and more of that.
Well, I was kind of thinking that with eBay too. I'm like, why don't they give you a choice? Like, why can't I list
Yeah.
it as
Yes.
a sudden death auction, and why can't I list it? But I think from their perspective, first of all, it's easier to just do it one way, probably on their side. The other thing is, I think that's what they want everybody to do. Like, they want this extended bidding to be the norm. So if you keep the other option open, you might just have people doing it the other way because that's what they know, and that's
Right.
not really going to help them make those changes. So, like I said, I don't participate on the auction side very much, so I haven't like put a lot of effort into this. I just kind of kicking it around, listening to other buyers and sellers talking about it, and as a buyer, it kind of stinks. So I get that part. So does that push buyers to other platforms? Does that make them want to participate more and buy it now, where they can just make offers and try to get things for the price that they want it for? I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Now on our side, we're selling $3 cards. Yeah, it's probably isn't really going to be much of a game changer for us anyway.
Yeah.
But I could see like the more legit higher end auction type items, whereas they always went to Golden and they always went to, Christie's or, any of those places. You could legit put it on eBay now because you can get that bid action at the end and get push that price
Yeah,
and add that
it does
time
make it
into
more
it.
inviting for that.
Yeah, I know somebody had talked about, I can't remember if it was a Golden auction or where the auction was hosted, but it had like 10 seconds left and it kept getting bids and it went for like 12 more hours of
Yeah,
bids. I was like, that's insane, that many people came in and it was a big, it was a big rare card, I'm sure, something like that, but it was money chasing money, of course.
yeah,
But I don't know. I think that adds some excitement. If I was person bidding in on auctions and I had a bigger budget and things like that, I think that's more fun than just like, hopefully my sniper edges out the other guy's sniper. You know, you don't have to be the fastest fingers. You just got to be the guy with the most money. That's
yeah,
basically what it comes down to now. But I think that's a possible way to compete with other auction houses. It's a way to try to get some of that live selling buying crowd. Um, and obviously eBay is pursuing that to some degree by starting their own live selling platform. Even though they make it impossible for people to get on it and do it. um, although I did talk to an eBay rep today, so we'll see what happens. But um, it sounds like they're starting to expand the beta a little bit more. So, because if you look at, I don't know if you filled out the application recently, but
no.
it's changed. It's changed a little bit. So,
I
um,
haven't filled it out because my luck, they would select me, and I really don't have the time to do it right now.
well, you're not required to do
I
like
know,
that.
but if I got
That's what
selected, then I would be feeling
you'd feel
pressure.
like you'd have to.
Yeah,
But that's what I kind of don't get about it. Like, I did the onboarding with Whatnot, and they approved me, and I put in for certain categories. And then there's like, if you want to do other stuff like brakes, you have to do like another little onboarding thing or whatever because there's special
yeah,
rules for braking and blah. But like, just do that, and then like, if people don't use it, they don't use it. Like, who cares? It's
yeah.
super weird because this has been in beta for what, a year now or a year and a half.
It's been a
Crazy.
while. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize it was that long.
Well, I mean, it seems like forever ago that I initially applied. So, um, I mean, I could be wrong, but it was definitely a while ago. It's not like it's been 6 months. It's definitely been longer than that. Um, so that's kind of goes to the other side of the conversation now. Okay, so that's eBay's new auction strategy.
Yeah,
What about, and we talked about, eBay Live. What about live selling? Is that what everybody's supposed to be doing now, or is that getting flooded? And then, okay, so you do. I mean, we've always kind of been on the buy it now side, right? Best offer
yeah,
side. Well, do you not do that anymore and you just do live selling? Do you do like a piece of each? And I feel like they each take enough time. Do you really want to
yeah,
do all of it? Um, for me to do it as a combination, it makes more sense with eBay Live because that's where my buy it now inventory is. And
yeah.
I still
Easy
prefer
to
to
flip
sell
over
that
there.
way. Yeah. I like to have some control over prices and, even on the buying strategy, it can be tough if you're digging through those boxes and one day you sell that card for $1 and the next day you sell that card for $15. Like, what the hell do you pay for
Yeah,
this card? 10
yeah,
cents?
yeah,
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't mind some of that unpredictability. I mean, I do the 99-cent auctions. I pretty much know they're going to end at that or a couple of bucks, at most. So I'm fine with that. And it does move those cards. But I don't know that I'd be comfortable with that being my entire business model, and then sourcing, right? So you have to constantly have, and unlike the buy it now strategy where you're just adding to your listings, and that slowly like increases your sales and things like that. If you're doing live selling, like you have to have a box of cards, list them all, whatever they go for, you ship them. Then you got to get another box of cards. Like,
Yeah.
um, so now you're under the pressure of, well, I don't know what this is going to sell for, so I have to pay. You should, if you're a smart business person, in your head go, well, I have to pay less for this now because it could go for less if I'm going to start it at $1.
Right.
And I don't know what it's going to end at. So now you have to try to find inventory, more of it at one time at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
That can be a tough strategy, depending on, and then if you're trying to do a little bit higher dollar cards, as we know, we find less margin in those value boxes on the $5 to $10
For
card
sure.
boxes. When I look through $10 card boxes, the cards are generally like $12, market price, or
Yep.
maybe 15. Maybe you could squeak a buck or two out of it. But if you buy that card for $10, you throw it on live at $1 and it goes for $3. Like, how many of those can you do before you're losing your shirt? And then you're spending the time, to do the live show and all that besides. So I don't know. I think everybody's kind of kicking this around to some degree. I mean, we see it in the Discord, right? There's just tons of conversation about this. By the way, if you're not on the Discord, there's a little ticker running at the bottom there. The Discord link will pop up. You're going to want to join us there. We have, like I said, tons of great discussions on this stuff.
Tons.
Tons. So many. All the discussions. But I feel like most people kind of settle into their niche too. Like, well, I like a whatnot, so I do all these, I do 5 whatnot shows a week. Okay, great. Well, I like eBay and doing the, static listing, buy it now. Okay, that's what but I feel like we're getting to a point where you can't just do like one or the other, right? I feel like there has to be some participation in not just multiple platforms, or not even multiple platforms for that matter, but just different styles of selling, different ways to sell the cards. I
Omni-channel
mean,
selling.
right. And I mean, you got card shows, there's just a lot of, there's other options, right? So can you do all of them? I don't know. There's only so many hours in a day too.
Right. And that's the thing. You got to figure out the right combination of where do I enjoy spending my time and where is the profitability of
Yeah.
spending my time.
And that's one of the reasons I don't like setting up at card shows, because you got to give up a whole Saturday or a whole Sunday. And honestly, I believe I have more. You obviously have more reach if you're listing on eBay than you do at a local card show. But I get the argument of, well, then you're not paying the back end fees and blah blah blah. But you're paying $50 a table every time you set up.
Yep.
You gotta get there. You gotta buy lunch. You gotta you got gas. There's other factors into that cost, and for $60 a month, you can have 60,000 listings in a store. So I don't know. Yeah, it feels like we're in this. At least I feel this way. It feels like we're in this like little pattern here where everybody's kind of trying to figure out, okay, what are we supposed to do? Like, what do we do next? And I don't have an answer. I don't think there is an answer. I think you have to, kind of like I said, I think you have to decide, well, I like doing whatnot, and I'm building a decent following, and I get decent sales on there, and I have plenty of sources to get inventory for the right price, and blah, 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 and that's what I'm going to do. Well, great. Then that's what you should do. But I don't know that everybody's that set that way. I think a lot of us are kind of going, what should I do? Like, where should I be? Where am I going to get the most money out of this? Where am I going to spend the least amount of time and get the best return? And the numbers, to be honest with you, the numbers on eBay Live are greatly skewed because there just isn't very many sellers on there
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so a $1 card goes for $7. Well, that's not gonna hold up. To me, it doesn't even make sense right now. Like if you can get that card for $1, buy it now from somebody else. Why the hell would you pay 7? Um,
Yeah.
but there might be some show bidding going on. There might be other things at play and maybe that's why it's still in beta. eBay is just trying to do a lot of background work and just make sure that you know things are ready to go for real. But if you go from I don't even know what the numbers are, but let's say they have 5,000 card sellers on there right now, right? Because it's pretty small on that platform for live sellers. But let's say they open it up and now you have 35,000 people doing 24-hour day live selling. Like you're not going to get the prices. It's just like, it's the same thing with regular eBay. If you were the only one listing a card, you're probably going to sell it and sell it for a premium. I mean, that just makes sense. You add more competition, unless you got something really special, it's just hard to maintain the prices versus the supply.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing about what we're seeing right now in the selling market is we're we're trying to apply rational reasoning to this conversation. And I think live selling is not a rational environment. It's not about how much you pay for the card. It's not about, oh, I can only find this card here.
Right.
It's about hanging out with like-minded people, getting some entertainment, getting some cards you like as they go
That's a
through,
fair point. Yeah,
and
that's
some
a fair point.
showing off too. You
Yeah.
have an audience for
Yeah.
your buy right away. What do we do when we get nice pickups? We post it in the Discord, right? And we share it with people. You have
Sure.
that instant gratification on a live selling environment. So we start to talk about more the psychological nature of live
Yeah.
selling and the draw for people. I There's no reason to think it's going away, but
No, it's not going to go away.
but I also don't think it's necessarily a takeover. I
Yeah.
think right now it's hot and it'll go
Yeah.
through cycles, and buy it now type sales, they also go through cycles.
Yeah.
And I
To
think
me,
both
the one thing that's not sustainable is getting $10 for a $1 card. I don't see any way that could continue.
as long as you have
Uh,
new buyers coming in, that can
that don't
continue.
know prices.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, but are they going to come back? Are they going to buy another? Once they figure out that they're overpaying for stuff, and or somebody tells them, or they research it. Are they going to be back to buy more? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's. I think it's. I think you can build viewers like you can build followers. In a store, but I don't know how many of them are returning buyers. That
Yeah.
that there might be a difference in those two numbers. Um, how much loyalty do you get in sales from a live selling engagement? I don't know. I don't know. I think
Well,
it puts some. I think it puts some humanity behind the card, right? So if I list it, I use a stock photo and I list it on eBay. Nobody knows who I am, versus you got it on screen and look at this, it's shiny and great card, and I got it out of this collection, whatever. Um, there's some story attached to it, some live presence.
yeah, there's something with that. It Look, make no mistake. Do I think I would enjoy live selling, and do I think I could make some profits doing it? Yeah, I do. What stops me is the time commitment to really change my sourcing, prepare my inventory. I almost said interview. I might need an interview pretty soon. My inventory for that type of sales promotion, um, and then the commitment you have to really build a following. Like the sellers I go to, I know when they're selling. I know when I can expect to find them. I can plan around when I want to go to their shows and watch. You need that
Yeah.
consistency. It's much the same way we talked about YouTube, right? You need to have consistent new content, get a routine that your followers can get used to. And I can't offer that at this point in
Sure.
my life and in my selling journey. And that's the only thing that keeps me from doing it. I firmly believe if I get out there and do it, I'm going to get a rush from it. I'm going to have fun doing it. I'm going to see good results because I know I would put the proper time and effort into it. So I see the temptation. It really is there. Where I get confused is, um, you know, people thinking, well, I got to do one or the other. Like I've got all this inventory and buy it now right now. If I started selling live tomorrow, I can't imagine not continuing with that, right? Because I don't have to do anything with it until it sells.
Well,
um,
plus those are your structured sales, so it gives your
yeah,
business some sort of counted on, you know, income to some degree, versus because you can control your prices a bit more,
yeah,
you know, versus, I mean, you could have a show and do really well. You could have your next show and not get what you need out of any of it. That can be tough. Plus,
yeah,
and then you're still out of the inventory, right? Because it's still
yeah,
sold. You just didn't get what you wanted for it.
yeah. I think the
Yeah.
potential for a lot of peaks and valleys in the live selling probably does exist
Yeah.
more than.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I mean, it has to. I mean, even just doing like regular old standard auctions, there's that variables at play.
Yeah, that is true.
When you're not entertaining the offers and accepting the money and setting the margins and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's if you start stuff at $1. I mean, you can go, okay, well, these are all starting at $10, and they're $15 cards or whatever. You can protect your downside some. I just don't know that how much action you get in live auctions if you're starting everything at $10.
Yeah,
People want that low starting point, and as a seller, you kind of want to start at that low selling point too, right? To get bidders in, to get stuff going. I've even seen like $5,000 storage units that start at $1,
yeah,
per sale because you got to get people involved, and that gets everybody in, and hopefully it lands somewhere near the 5 grand, when it's done. It's sort of the same strategy of like back to like eBay standard auctions where people will put a reserve price on it.
yes,
And bidders hate that. Don't put a
mhm,
reserve price. If you're going to put a reserve price on it, don't start it at $1.
right.
Like you can't do that. They want a shot at that. It's buying a lottery ticket for $1 and getting a shot at 50 million.
That's the thrill,
Um,
right?
you can't charge 49 million for the lottery ticket because there's too much buy-in, right off the bat.
Yep, totally agree with that.
Yeah. So it seems like we have some chat action. I knew this was going to be the topic. So do we want to get kind of jumping on that?
Yeah.
We're about 34 minutes in. What's up?
What's up?
Oh,
Bill Simus is here
Bill's
tonight.
back. Yeah, we don't always get Bill, so we are pleased to have your presence.
Dan's with us. He says, yes, stream decks are a lot of fun, but don't get the small one. You'll regret not going bigger. I know this from experience. That's what she said.
Right. Yeah, you always want don't let them lie to you. You always want bigger. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I kind of agree. I don't know how you could deny that.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
more is usually better when it comes
Well,
to techie tech stuff. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
He also says, I could have sworn eBay long, long ago used to add time at the end of auctions once a bid comes in. Do you remember that?
I don't. Not at all. So I mean, it could have been. I had my eBay down years where I wasn't really doing much too. So it could have fit in there somewhere, but I don't ever remember that being an option.
Yeah, I don't really have as much history with eBay as you do, so
Mhm.
I don't remember that at all either, but I was slow to the eBay party, um, because my experiences when it was still the wild wild west were not great. It made me pretty nervous. So I really didn't jump in for quite a while.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, I've been selling on and off, mostly on the platform since like '96, and
Yeah,
I don't require I don't recall any thought of, oh, they were extending bids. But to be fair, I never really did a ton of auctions. I was always been more of a I'm more conservative on the business side of things. Well, especially when you need a paycheck out of it, that changes things. By the way,
yeah,
um, but I'm more conservative, and I'm like, I want to know what I can pay, what I can sell it for. I want to list it slightly above that, so I've got some room to go down. And so more the Dutch auction style, right? Like I overprice it and then I can sell it for under. I'd rather do that strategy than let's take this $20 card, put it at $1 and see if it hits 40. I don't know.
yeah.
It's a tough thing to count on.
It's not really your style with that, right?
No. No, I'm perfectly comfortable taking like some cards that I don't need a lot of margin in or whatever, and throwing them out at auction or doing a lot. I've done live shows. So I'm not opposed. I think you're right. I think it does feel like a lot of people are going one or the other. Like, okay, I don't do any of this anymore. Now I just do live selling, and it's like I I think you're right. I think it's got to be both. I think to be truly successful, you need to do both.
Yeah. I think one's going to complement the other at some point in a cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Troy's here. He says, must be Wednesday.
sure is. The goat's all here.
That's right. Odd Merchants is with us. He says, good evening. I don't like this live selling. Are people really that dumb to pay $8 for a card that has 100 active buy it now listings for $1.99? When does the nonsense end? I don't think it's an intelligence issue. I think it's an effort and desire issue.
So I've seen people overpay for cards on like regular auctions too. It's not just live selling. That's happened before with other auctions, and I think people just get caught up in it. And Trevor's probably right to some degree. People just want to be a part of it, so money's not important to everyone. Some
Right.
people have a lot of it. It's more, there might be some lonely people that are like, oh, I had fun on this stream. I'll pay $8 for this card. I know it's a $2 card, but I want the seller to continue on. It's kind of like doing a super chat and donating to a YouTube video that you enjoy watching. By the way, you can send super chats on here. Um, being a member of a Patreon of a YouTube channel. Like you're not going to get anything for that money other than entertainment value.
Right.
And I think some people might be paying for the entertainment value of it. Um, and but ultimately, I also think it's just a hot thing right now, and it's getting in maybe some new buyers who don't understand values or get talked into things easily.
Yeah.
Look at this card; it's really nice. Bo Jackson's awesome. You should buy it. Okay, great. I'll give you $11 for that $2 card. I don't know long term that there's a lot in that that can be sustained. People don't consistently overpay for things forever. It just doesn't happen.
No, but like I said, as long as there's a consistent inflow of new buyers, that'll keep happening.
Because there's also the other side, right? So this is the thing that I don't like about live selling. It kind of reminds me of my early days of YouTube when everybody was like, "Oh, buy Zion Williamson and get a PSA 10 and quadruple your money." Like that's not real. That doesn't happen forever. So we talk about, oh, I do it on live, and now for this $2 card, I get $10 for it. But you know what? There's also $10 cards you get $1 for.
Right.
There goes the other. There's plenty of them that sell way under what you should get too. regardless of whether or not you have a good audience. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Um, but like eBay Live, I was watching Got Baseball Cards. Do you know who Got Baseball Cards
Yeah.
is? It's a big store in Atlanta area. And he was doing non-sport packs, which I'm like, well, that's my thing, right?
Jam.
So I'm on there, and he has a Mash pack, okay, from Mash, the TV show.
Yeah.
And that was from like 19, I'm going to get the year wrong, but like 60s sometime. And I mean, I have some of those packs. They're $3 a pack, nothing special. And he had packs, they were going for like 25 to $30. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, who the hell's paying for this? But then he
People
had
don't have
like a
no experience with it.
right. But then he had a pack of Empire Strikes Back go for like $10. I'm like, that's like a $30 pack. So it just, his audience there was like older guys like MASH. And we're like, hey, I'll buy, those are old. I'll buy a pack of MASH cards. That must be a good deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what makes one thing sell way. Look at us, right? When you buy on whatnot, right? Do you get decent deals on there sometimes?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
So not every seller is getting 60% more by selling it live.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
getting less on a lot of those sales. So it's gotta have some even out at some point, or a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever it is, and then you're just hoping for the volume,
Yeah.
to increase the sales, like the overall income.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now the other theory is for inventory purchasing. So instead of going through a quarter box and buying specific cards, you're just going to buy bigger amounts of inventory and
Yeah.
hope for a smaller price per card that way, which would help you hedge against lower bids on live, right?
Sure.
Um, so that's a inventory strategy. But are you saving any work, right? So the other argument is, well, I got to list these, and then I got to put it, I got to get them in a bag, and then I got to house this inventory, and blah blah blah. So I just buy a box and I just sell it live. Okay, well now to hedge yourself against losses, you're buying a bigger amount of inventory. Well, now you got to sell through it faster. You're doing more shows. You're doing a 4-hour show. Well, is that any better than spending 4 hours listing and picking? It doesn't.
Right.
You're not. I don't think you're going to squeeze a lot more time out of doing it live than you would. I didn't, and I've done live shows. It takes me just as long to set up a show and put the cards on camera and get them sold and ship them out as it does if I list them and buy it now.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said, at least for me, there's a lot to be said for the flexibility I have in operating and buy it now. If
Right.
I only want to list 5 cards today, I can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I
Yep.
want to list 300 cards today, I can do that too. I don't feel any pressure that there's a certain time commitment every day. Now,
And
do I usually spend quite a bit of time every day? Yes, because I want to, not because I feel
right.
like I have to.
And you can do it at any time you want. My favorite
Right.
time to work is from like 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. I can't do a live show then. I won't have any. There's not going to be any audience
Yeah.
at four. Or there's going to be a small. Someone's going to come on here and be like, I've done shows at 4:45, but you're not going to get so you need to work now. If you're going to do a live show, you need to work from like 7 p.m. till midnight. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's my time. I have family and other things that I like to do. And I
I,
coach soccer. I coach soccer this summer. That's 2 nights a week from like 5 to 8 p.m. at least, or 9 p.m. if we have a late game. Like, those would be peak times to do a live show.
yeah. And I think it's a good time to maybe level set on this conversation. I want to be clear. We're not advocating one platform or the other, or telling you shouldn't do live selling and you should still do buy it now type stuff. We're simply weighing the pros and cons and justifying or explaining why we've maybe chosen not to go that direction. um it's a personal thing for everybody,
Yeah,
and it's what you want to get out of it, right? Like if you crave that excitement and stuff, um, then live selling is gonna be for you, right? But that's not really what I do this for. Yeah, it's fun when I have some of those moments, but that's not the end goal, right? I'm not looking to get that quick buzz from doing an event. So that's really what keeps me from saying, "Hey, I got to do this." And the other thing I just want to caution people against is be careful of FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. Just because
right.
so many people are selling live now is not the right reason for you to say, "Oh, I got to get out there and sell live now." And I think a lot of people are maybe feeling that
Yeah.
and jumping out there when maybe it's not right for them, but they don't want to miss out on the big craze right now.
And that was precisely my point in the original start of this conversation was these $1 cards selling for $8 when there's more competition for live selling out there, that's not going to happen as much.
Right.
I mean, I used to, when I started selling on eBay and I was selling gaming miniatures, there was hardly anybody doing it. There was like me and two other guys. So I'm talking like this was the time when I had to like teach myself XHTML, like the language,
Yeah.
because you had to go in eBay and put your little greater than B for bold, to make your words. But like that's how you did it. That's how you built a listing. You had pictures of the camera and then plug your camera into your computer and download them. And
Yeah.
yeah, nightmare fuel type stuff when I think about it now. But I would get, on a figure that would normally go for $1, I'd get $6, $7 sometimes because there's
Yeah.
nobody else selling it on there, and people needed it for their game, or for their collection or whatever, and so I would get those sales.
Yeah.
Um, Now it's easy to list on the platform, so that figure that only had two listings out there now probably has 1,500. I don't know. So yeah, as it built, now there's more platforms to do live selling on. So it used to just be, well, I'm on Whatnot. That was like the live selling site, right?
Yeah.
Now there's Fanatics Live. Now I think Facebook does a live. You can do a live on Facebook for selling too. You've got Instagram. People are doing live shows on there. You've got eBay. So it's like, well, now you can't do a live show on every platform, not all at one time. So how do you balance that? Where do you want to build that audience? Not so now that's even an added question into it is where do I go? Where's going to be? Where
Yeah.
are my people going to be? And now
You're
now I see people leaving Whatnot to go list on Fanatics,
right.
or they're leaving Whatnot to go list on eBay Live. So it's like, okay, well, now you had that audience on Whatnot. What are you going to do? Even like the application to sell on eBay Live, they're like, where else do you sell live? Okay, Whatnot. Well, what's your link and how much are your sales and blah blah blah. So really, what they want in this beta is to buy people from Whatnot.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that current selling status, if you will, they're not going to let you into eBay Live. So like they don't want to start new sellers. They want to take the sellers off the other platform.
Yeah.
That's what that says to me.
Yeah.
Because what difference does it make if I've sold live on Whatnot before? I'm on eBay and I want to sell live on eBay. Why can't I get started with you? Well, no, we only want seasoned sellers that we can steal from another platform. Like, well, how many people are going to do that? And if they do, well, then now Whatnot doesn't have that seller. I don't know. It's kind of like social media, right? When social media started, you had Facebook, right? And then there are a couple other little small ones that would pop up. Well, now it's like follow me on Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram and blah blah. Who wants to make posts in like 30 different platforms
Yeah.
all the
That's
time?
exactly how I think about it a lot of times. Like I remember at one point I had to get an app to simultaneously manage all my
I
different socials, right?
Same. Exactly. And I was just going to say that. Like, I had to get an app to post to my apps. Like,
Yeah.
and then people would be like, "Well, I saw this on Instagram." Like, I didn't even know I put that on Instagram. Like stuff
Right.
was showing up in places, and everybody wants to make a brand, and everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame, and they all want to have this many followers on Instagram and this many. But in the end, what is it really getting you? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
your minifig story and only having like you and one other seller has me thinking about a little detour in our conversation here. Lately, I go to list non-sport cards, and there's one other store that has it listed, and that's it. And it's this Ad Pete guy, and I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, they
That's
sound
me.
familiar. I feel like I know them.
That's
And
me.
the other day, I had to double check, and I was like, damn it, that's Adam.
Yep.
And it's just you and I listing it a lot of
I'm
times.
trying to take over the non-sport market for sure.
Yeah,
Well, and
you're definitely a
that's
big
the
presence.
thing. That's the thing with the buy it now too. I feel like to some degree growth is more controllable for me. Like if to get growth on the live selling platform, you just have to do it a lot more often, right? You know, like you said, consistency, but you have to constantly have a sale. You have to constantly be on at a peak time and all that kind of stuff. Or the followers are going to leave and they're going to go somewhere else. You know,
Yeah,
it's very physical. The world is fickle, right? They're only going to follow you for as long as you're providing them something. And I don't feel like I feel like when I list buy it now, I don't have to do that. Like I can keep growing and expanding. You know, I'm at almost 11,000 listings in the non-sports store now, and it's like $2,500 a month in income from that store that I'm getting. Like that's pretty decent growth. Like how much more do I have to constantly? And I think that for some reason, and maybe it's because I hate doing taxes, which most people do, but I'm thinking like, man, if I start doing this live selling, like that's an accounting nightmare, you know, to some
maybe.
degree. And at least if I did it in eBay Live, it would just show up with all my eBay stuff. You know, I don't have Whatnot, now Fanatics, and
Yeah,
now
so it's
YouTube
separate.
sending me a 1099. Like, you got to keep track of all that stuff. And then with live selling, it's even harder because it's like, well, what did I pay for this? Well, what did I end up selling at? Because you didn't control any of the pricing.
Right.
Well, is this a loss? Okay, great. Well, but this one was more profit than I thought it would be. And um, I don't know. Yeah, just I think I think ultimately what I'll be doing is I'll be doing both. Um, I've done Whatnot. It's okay. The platform works okay. I had decent people in my show. Some of you are viewers, and I appreciate that and bought some stuff. I have a good review. You know, they've paid me on time. You know, once customers have received their items. So I don't have any issues with Whatnot. I just don't know that I want to try to build another whole audience there doing live and then keep focusing on my followers on eBay. I could rather just continue building with eBay, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm willing to essentially at this point just continue my growth with my buy it now listings, continue getting followers, and then hitting those followers up once I'm selling live, and they can buy for me that way if that's the format that they
Sure.
choose.
Yeah.
And then just continue to grow my audience on that platform.
Well, Odd Merchants says he thinks eBay is going the wrong direction. He says he's actually considered live selling on Didbit. Wait, Dibdit? I'm not
Dibbed it.
familiar with that. Yeah.
Dibbed it. Yeah, I know
Sounds
what
like
dibbed it
an old
is.
Shana Na song. But I want to try to build a following outside of eBay because, again, as he says, eBay is going in the wrong direction in his opinion.
Yeah, I do disagree. I don't think eBay is going in the wrong direction. I think the things they're doing are things they need to do to stay relevant. I think eBay should have changed some things a long time ago. They were willing to just kind of sit on their haunches because let's face it, they've been kingfish forever in the online auction market.
Yeah.
Didn't really have to. Well, now some of that stuff's getting chunked away from them. You know, with other platforms, Whatnot's really had quite a boom in growth, and I'm sure that's taken a for as much as eBay's had a growth in sales. I would imagine Whatnot's been cutting into that, and hence
Right.
why they're you know pushing for live selling and things. Um, but I don't know. Do you need to build a following on more than one platform for sales? Maybe. You know, I don't know. I don't know if you're getting different buyers in one spot than another. The other thing, I mean, I don't really like listing fixed priced inventory in more than one place because you have to control like what's what listed where, and you know what I mean. Inventory wise, it's kind of a pain.
Not
And,
not
and
necessarily. There's some advances in that with like car
unless you
deliverable.
have, yeah, unless you have something where it's going to cancel out, the other listing. Um, but what I was more referring to was listing on Whatnot, because I'm like, oh, well, I'll build my live, my live selling audience on Whatnot. This was before eBay Live even came out, so I was already considering live selling with the success of Whatnot.
Yeah,
And then I'll list like fixed price stuff on Whatnot too, right? So if I build an audience there, they could buy on auction and then buy on a fixed price. But I was like, yeah, and then I got two sets of inventory controls, and you know what I mean? Like and what more am I going to get out of that for adding all that complication?
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Johnny M is with us tonight as well. Good evening. The real question is, why isn't Adam selling on Whatnot?
Yeah, so I have kind of limited his success. We sort of just talked about this, but um, I just really want to focus on, since eBay is doing live selling now, I'd rather build my live selling presence there. And I don't want to go on to Whatnot, invest a lot in that, and then now I'm right back to eBay once I'm on the live selling here. The other thing I don't like about Whatnot, and I understand why sellers do it and the enticement and all that, but the culture of it is not really my thing. First of all, I think there's a lot of scammy stuff on Whatnot, and I don't really want to tie myself to that very much. Um, Not that I do any scammy stuff, of course, but just the fact that, oh, you're on Whatnot? Well, I heard this guy sells cards and then doesn't ship them and blah, blah, blah. Um, the other thing is just the fact of the culture behind it. So, like, you have to raid, right? So you do your live show and then you have to send everybody to another live show. And, like, you have to connect with all the, I don't know. It seems like more than I really want to put into it, to be honest with you. Um, I make pretty good sales doing the buy it now stuff. I'm like, I don't know that I want my growth to come from something where I have to put in all brand new extra efforts. Most of the Whatnot shows that they have giveaways and they do, this and they do that. And it's like, I don't, you have to do promotions, right? People complain about eBay promotions, but then they go on Whatnot and they spend all this money to promote their show because they're getting their 5 minutes of fame out of it, I guess. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I just don't. Every time I do a Whatnot show and it's done, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad it's over. So I just feel like that's probably not the right place for me
Not a
to
great sign.
to be right now. And live selling is, I I think it's definitely something I could do. Obviously, I'm comfortable on a camera and doing all that kind of stuff. But oh, look at this shiny card, and you're a little bit of a used car salesman in that process. Um, if you're trying to truly sell the card, putting the effort into that during the show, and I don't know, that's not my favorite person to be. I don't really care for used car salesmen
Yeah,
and
that's
the
a
mentality of it.
tough one.
Yeah.
Art Green is with us tonight. He says, I think for my business, buy it now just makes the most sense for me. I'm not ruling out Whatnot or ideally eBay Live, since that's where my business resides right now. Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it right now as well. It's not the right time for me. I'm not ruling it out. I would not at all be surprised if someday I give it a shot out there. I do spend some time occasionally thinking about, okay, what do I want to build up to do this at some point? Like I kind of start thinking about, okay, do I want to start building a box on the side of, hey, when I'm ready to do this, this is the kind of stuff I'm going to sell out there. The flip side of that is always, well, if I'm going to do that, why don't I just sell it right now and buy it now? So,
That's kind of my point too. List it, because if it sells, so I've gotten to the point now where, so I guess maybe I should give you a little bit more flavor on why I don't feel like I have to do it live, because I have a decent number of following in my store, and as soon as I make new listings, I'll sell cards out of it instantly or close to instantly. Within a day or two, almost every one of my you know orders for those next few days, I'm pulling stuff out of bags I just made. So I'm like, well, if I'm getting the price I want for it, and it really doesn't take me any extra effort, I didn't have to be on camera, I didn't have to be on at a peak time, I didn't have to hold the card and play music in the background and do a whoop whoop, we got a new buyer. I didn't have to do any of that. I could just pack the card and ship it.
Yep.
With a business card, come back anytime you want, look at all my inventory anytime you want, doesn't matter what time of the day it is, and buy more. Like, that's, I don't know, I feel like that's a better success for me.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like the big advantage of the live selling is not having to have inventory. That's where people are really focusing on it. Like, okay, well, I can get this box of cards, and then I can just sit there and just keep, here, anybody want this thing? $1. Here, anybody want this thing? $1. And you don't care if it's a $10 card if it goes for $1 because you're doing the volume. But I'd rather do less volume and get $10 for the card and then leave the other ones to sit in there until they sell.
Yeah, I'm with you
Like,
on that.
that's
Sure.
more, I'm more traditional retail. But you're right, Art. You have to go, this is what makes sense for me. This is what I'm doing with my business. This is how I feel like is the best way to build it. That's what we all have to do. We all have to sit back and go, okay, well, I want to do some live selling. I want to do this. I want to do that. The biggest thing I can compare it to, we talked about this earlier, is social media. Like, I don't want to be on Twitter. I don't want to do those things. So I just focus my energy and my time on the social media platforms that I feel like work for me and work for my business.
Yeah. The time spent you put into it and how you want to do it is such a huge thing you have to manage and a decision you have to make in your business, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, good point here. Ad Merchant says, I'm waiting for eBay to fee the hell out of live auctions.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll just keep their back end percentage on it, but which is what they charge now. I mean, it's not free if you sell in on eBay Live now. It's not free. You still pay the whatever the selling price is plus the transaction fee,
Right.
when you get the payment. So, yeah, but will they increase that percentage? I guess they could, but if you're trying to get people to sell live, that doesn't seem to make much sense either.
Right.
If anything, I think you would knock the price down and keep it cheaper than to buy it now. So, but that's the other thing with the eBay Live. Like, I feel like, okay, I go on there and I do a live show and I sell some cards, just like my regular auctions that I do on eBay. It just goes into my sales for the day. So I go in and I print the label and I pull the card, from my auction box or from my inventory, and I ship it. When
Yeah.
I do Whatnot, it's like, okay, well, now I got to go back to that platform and I got to look at, what did I do for my, I don't know. It's just it's a lot of back and forth. As it is, I run 2 stores on eBay. That's enough work in its own right. Adding the live selling on top of that might be, if you got like 2,000 listings by it now and you're like, I'm just going to do live, that makes more sense to me. Right? Because you're starting out, you can build a different business model, kind of bring it anywhere you want. Versus what I've already got built, there's no reason for me to throw that away and just go into something else.
Right.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well.
So you're talking about the rush, right? Oh, the people get this rush from selling live. You know what I get a rush from? When I wake up in the morning and I had $200 worth of sales while I was sleeping. That's
Yeah.
my rush. Or I can't believe somebody paid $5 for that card that I got for free in a box. And, I still get the rushes from that. I don't need the high of, oh, I put this on live, this is a $5 card and I talked the hell out of it and I got $2 for it on live. Great. Or even if it sells for more, oh, great, I got $6 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't get the rush that I feel like others must be getting because it doesn't really do it much for me.
Okay.
It takes a lot to get me excited, Charlie. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Like another Cubs victory, right?
Yes. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
We're pretty tight
Speaking
in
of,
those standings again. One game, I believe.
no, well, I think it's two, right? Wasn't it two? I don't know.
Uh,
I can't use my phone right now, but
yeah.
I thought it was
Uh,
two right before the break. But either way,
oh, the Brewers swept the Nationals, I believe, so they might have gained
mhm.
one.
No, I might have.
Um, yeah. Lions Cards 9 is here. Hey guys, speaking of Discord, a lot of us have been discussing listing burnout. That's a thing. We're at a point where it's becoming a chore to list. Do you ever get listing burnout? And if so, how do you combat it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Yes. I find that the best way to combat listing burnout is don't list.
Yeah, just like
Take a
just like
break once in
YouTube burnout.
a
I was going to compare it to YouTube burnout. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't. We've talked before that the algorithm looks for new listings regularly, right? And will
Hmm.
make you more prominent the more you list. But I haven't found any evidence that it looks at how much you list every day.
Correct.
So sometimes I do need to take a step back and say, hey, I listed 3 cards today. That's fine. There's
Nope.
other things
Go.
going on that I want to spend some time on anyway. I need to step away for a while. But how long does it take to list just a couple of cards daily?
Hmm.
That usually helps me deal with the burnout. The second strategy I use is changing up what I'm listing. A lot of times that burnout is caused by listing the same type of stuff over and over again. Baseball, baseball, baseball,
Hmm.
baseball. Hey, did you guys know it's yak shaving day? That helps me, work through some of that burnout because I'll switch to something totally different and find something that, makes me think about something else for a while.
And that's kind of the beauty of non-sport cards. For me, with listing, you just brought up Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
I love listing non-sport cards. There's such variety. There's cool designs. It's nostalgic if you're doing the older stuff. But yeah, I think it's smart to do that anyway when you list to make sure you have variety coming out, for different types of buyers. But honestly, I don't really. There's no possibility of me getting burnout because I have 60,000 listings in one store and 11,000 in another, so there's no pressure for me to list like there was at one point in time. But um, yeah, I think the biggest we all have stuff we don't want to do, right? I mean, I don't want to take the kid to school. I don't want to file my taxes. I don't want to cut the grass. I don't want to blow. That's just life. So part of having a business where you sell stuff online is putting it on there. So um, unfortunately, like Charlie said, you just have to come up with a plan where you're at least doing a little bit. Today I don't really feel like listing. All right, I'll just put these 5 cards on there that I feel like are good listings, right? Should get some attention. So at least you get eyes, on something versus like a fringe card that you're not sure will have sell quickly.
Right.
Um, do that, and then tomorrow you're feeling much better. You got more time. Great. I'm going to take this whole stack now, and I'm going to get this stuff listed, and then just kind of keep going. Like it took me a long time to get all those listings done, but there's definitely days where I'm like, I don't have time, or I just don't want to list a bunch of stuff.
Right.
I want to make a video, or I want to, I don't know, play in another hobby or something. Like, yeah, you have to pace yourself a little bit with it. You want to make sure you're making quality listings. So you don't want to just like rush to get them done. Um, but it's part of it. It's a big part of it. Like listing and shipping. Those are two things you cannot run away from if you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's whether or not you're doing it live or static. We were talking about the two different types of selling, really. Uh, Either one, you have to put information out there. That's the only way you're going to get the sales.
Yeah. And there should be more pressure to do it early on while you're trying to build up inventory.
Right.
But once you establish a decent sized base of inventory, don't feel bad of taking a day light or something. To just do something different and clear your mind on it, and make sure that burnout doesn't build up to a critical mass. Art Green, I like being able to go on a weekend trip like this past weekend, respond to offers and rake in sales while I'm just doing my thing. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
dude.
a great selling point of buy it now type of
Yep.
operations.
I even talk about that with like holidays, right? So
Yeah,
the story's always been for a self-employed person, right? Well, there is no holidays. There's no, just because it's July 4th doesn't mean that I get paid. When you work a job, most jobs will say, okay, it's July 4th, it's a holiday, we pay you, but you don't have to come in, right? That's a bigger benefit than you realize, because when you're self-employed, you don't get a check for that day
right.
unless you work. But in this case, like he said, great. Maybe I'll list a few cards in the morning and take the rest of the day and have the holiday, or do something with my family or whatever, and boom, you just get the sales while you're the the live selling is very demand, because you cannot get a sale unless you're on the camera.
Yeah,
And that's a big responsibility. If you don't, um, let's say you're like you said, going on vacation for 2 weeks and you're going to be in Europe, like you can't even do a live show. You don't have a box of cards with you. So for 2 weeks you just don't do a live show. Does that kill your consistency then, and your audience starts to leave? Like, I don't know. There's bigger costs to being away if you're not doing the live.
Odd Merchant says if I did a live, I'd do it 3 days a week, each major sport having its own show.
And I think that's pretty typical. I've seen that a lot, where it's baseball night, or it's basketball singles, or it's lots, or whatever. Yeah, you kind of have to theme out the show. I did that with mine too, to try to pinpoint your audience a little bit of actual buyers, not just viewers. Um, and then consistently do it. So Mondays I do soccer, Wednesdays I do football, Fridays I do. But you got to try to be on at peak times. That's the one thing I feel like you can't get away from, and that's the one thing that keeps me from wanting to do it. I have company over on Friday nights. We have friends over. We do a dinner party thing. I don't want to have to every Friday night do a basketball show. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give that time to that activity. I'd rather hang out with my friends on Friday night and get some sales out of my store. Do that
Yeah,
work at 4 a.m. when nobody else is up and cares, and get my stuff listed and get some sales that night, and then ship them the next day when I'm not occupied doing something I want to do.
yeah. Dan says to him, selling live selling is a way to liquidate inventory quickly compared to buy it now. Yeah, absolutely, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, exactly. That's the
Um,
whole point of it.
yeah,
That's the only reason for it.
and I think so. We talk about you can't just sell commons out there and expect a bunch of sales out of that. But in a way, most of the sellers I look at, their real bread and butter of their business is $100 cards and up. So to them, what they're selling on whatnot streams and stuff, even though they're going $5 to $10 to $15, that's their commons for their
Right,
business model,
right,
right?
right.
So it's that liquidate mindset that they're trying to do.
Yeah, and there's other ways to liquidate inventory for a cheaper price, right? If
Yeah.
that's what you're willing to do, just to sell it more quickly, you can list lots. You can do traditional old eBay auctions. I do that every month. Um, you can do bigger coupons, right? So, for your buy it nows, you just do, okay, well, buy 3 cards, I'm doing 75% off. You can do these huge numbers to hit, those smaller price points that you get. Yeah. So here's something that so there's a YouTuber who's got a pretty good following. His name is ADHD Dave. Have you ever heard of him?
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
He used to work for like NASA or something, made all this big money. Quit
Okay.
his job to buy and sell stuff. Now he doesn't do cards. Well, actually, now he's getting into non-sport cards, of course, because we need another person. You know, leave me alone, right? I was the only non-sport guy. Leave me alone. Anyway, I shouldn't say that. There's been others, but it's been growing. But he dumped all his eBay inventory, right? Because he hated having inventory. Now remember, he sells like other stuff, so he had like all this shelving in his garage and couldn't park in there and all that. Didn't want to hold any of it. He doesn't. He loses track of where stuff is and stuff breaks. Knocking it off a shelf. So he's like, I'm done with eBay. He got a complaint on eBay or something. I don't know. He's just like, I'm done with eBay. Dumped it all. Sells on Didbit, by the way. He's one of the guys who like founded it.
Okay.
Um, so he's like, I'm just going to go on Didbit and I'm going to, or Dibdit, and I'm
Yeah.
just going to do these live auctions. And then, I can just do them a few times a week and I just get stuff in when I source and I just ship it right out and I have shelves and blah, blah, blah. Guess what he's doing now? This was like 3 months ago. Guess what he's doing now?
What's he doing now?
Listing stuff on eBay. Because he's taking $80 items and he's listing it on Didbit. They do have lower fees, of course, too. So there's some advantage there. But stuff he would list on eBay for $80, yeah, maybe it takes a couple months to sell, but you'll get the $80.
Yeah.
He's putting it on Didbit and getting like $20.
Okay.
It's like I don't. Now I'm just spending more time sourcing and I'm spending more time doing more live shows and blah blah blah. Because now I have to hit the volume because I'm not getting any the margins. And this is a guy with a big following, a guy who created a live selling website. One of the parts of that team, and they have a kind of a live show like this. Where it's the group of them and they talk and they, a couple of those guys have hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube, and he can't get those prices.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he's like, well, I'm going to start listing this stuff on eBay now because I want the $80. I don't want $20. The high of, like you said, the quick turnover and, oh, I don't have to keep inventory and I just put it in a box and I ship it out and then I go get more stuff on Saturday at this rummage sale and then I just do a live show Monday and then I ship it out. Like, talk about burnout. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've gotten plenty of messages from folks saying, "Hey, I need some product for my next live stream. Do you got any of this? Do you got any of that?" And there's a sense of urgency to their messaging that I can feel the pressure to keep up
Mhm.
with your stream schedule, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think for what we sell, I think live selling is tough because it's hard enough to sell a $2 card where it can kind of just sit there until you get the right buyer. But now you got to try to get buyers into a stream that want a common card or a base card. I don't know. You're going to be doing an awful lot. I mean, and I've had this experience. Now, granted, I don't have that much audience yet, and obviously over time, they'll, just like listing on eBay, your sales should improve. But I'll do 100 cards and I sell 20 of them, right? 20%. That's not bad when you're just doing live and you don't know who's going to be there. But it's like I did a 2 hour show and I got $20. Like it
Yeah.
just doesn't, and you still have to set up the show and you got to advertise and you got to post a link everywhere. And then you have to make sure you're ready to go and set up your camera. And like, there's stuff to this to
And it's more pressure packed stuff, right? Yeah, you got to do all that
got
work
to
to
do it
set up
now.
your eBay Buy It Now store, but is it high visibility stuff that if you do something wrong, like, it's super stressed versus, oh, I can't get this camera to do the angle I want? Like, stuff like that drives me nuts when I can't get, some of my production values just the way I want it. And I know
Well,
there's others like, you know,
we've even seen it in Discord too, where like, well, my show wasn't very successful, my internet dropped, and blah blah.
yeah,
So now what do you do? Now you have technical issues, which we have that with eBay too, right? Car Dealer Pro, or eBay listing isn't working right now, but you can kind of just
but it's
work
not
around that because it's
live.
not. It's not
Like,
live. It's not
oh
live.
gosh, a dozen new listings I put up on eBay didn't show up yet.
Yeah.
It's fine. In 2 hours, they'll show up and no one will be none the wiser, right? But if you're in a live show and you lose your feed for 10 minutes, your show's over.
Yep. Pretty much.
So,
And will those people return?
yeah.
Will they come back?
Yeah.
They invested their time into participating in your show, and it failed.
Yeah.
Um,
No doubt. There's more pressure in a live selling environment for a
yeah.
seller.
I think the bigger pressure is the constant sourcing. To me, that's I even felt that pressure just building an eBay store. Like, I have nothing to list right now. I have to go to this show. I used to tell this to my wife. I'd be like, I have to go to this show this weekend. I don't have anything to list. I got to go buy stuff. And I probably overpaid for some cards when I bought them because I'm like, I need stuff.
Yeah.
Now I've got plenty of stuff here. I could easily do live shows regularly and not have to source for a while, because I've built those connections and I've bought stuff in bigger collections and that. But if you're starting out and you don't have anything laying around, like, yeah, you're chasing that chicken all day long, trying to get enough stuff to keep your show going. And I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah. Odd Merchant says he thinks a mid-morning weekday vintage live show would do well, as most who collect vintage are near retirement age and have disposable income. Probably better than watching Matlock.
And you might be right, but here's the other challenge. How do you know? So now let's say you schedule a show for 11 a.m. and no one shows up, and you've got some decent, Hall of Fame player vintage cards, $10 cards that you listed at $1, and now they all go for $1. Guess
Yeah,
what? Those are gone. Those are gone now. Now you got to go get in more inventory, and you got to try to figure out, well, that was a fail. That time didn't work. And I'm sure there's more and more data being gathered where you could go and be like, when's the best time to do this show? And
yeah,
um, but those trends change too. It used to be on eBay, if you wanted to list your auctions, you had to have them end on a Sunday night. That's not true anymore.
yeah.
Now there's other times that work better for auctions to end. And now it doesn't even matter because now time can be extended on an auction. So, like,
Fair.
you're not going to nail this and be like, okay, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., that's exactly when everybody's looking for vintage cards. That might not be true.
There's no silver
Um,
bullet, right?
there's no silver bullet. And then you can't control your competition. So now you get more people in there that are like, oh, I looked at his show and he did well with vintage at 8 p.m. Guess what the hell time and day their show is going to be?
Yeah,
We've even experienced that with like the YouTube live. I've been looking at other shows and a lot of them now are on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm not saying they did it because we have a show, but
yeah,
it's just, and then we talk about consistency, right? A big and important key of that live selling is to be consistent.
yeah.
And it's the same thing with our show. Should we switch ours now to Thursday at 8 o'clock? Well, that's probably not a good move for us either.
But
And
that,
it changes our life. Like, we have to relook at that. Like, okay, does Thursday work? And
and as soon as you get set on Thursday, there's going to be another debate. Should we change it to Friday? And then
right,
it'll be, should we change it to Monday? It just never ends.
yeah. And then with live selling still being new, I'd say we're in like the fourth inning of eBay or of live selling, right?
Yeah,
So it's not new. It's got some build, but there's still a lot more that's getting pushed to increase it. So you're just, the competition is not going to go down.
right.
It's only going to increase. So if you're like, oh, this $1 card, I get $8 for it. I'm just going to keep doing this, and that's not going to continue. There's going to be more and more sellers who are going to compete with the time slot, and you got 25 channels doing a vintage show at 8 p.m. That's going to spread out those viewers, and you're just not going to get the number of buyers.
Yeah, yep. Agreed.
So now to get your leg up would be to, advertise it and promote it and give stuff away and make sure you're consistent and blah blah blah. You can keep if you do it correctly, and people like you, you should be able to keep some of that audience. And despite other competition coming in, you still get them.
Yeah.
That's not as easy to do as it sounds, especially if they're selling for a cheaper price.
Yeah.
Price still dictates a lot of it.
Agreed. Odd Merchants also offers insight for non-sports, saying ideal time would be midnight for that. Those are your night owls who are nerds and play video games and drink Code Red.
What are you trying to say? Because I don't do any of those things. I am certainly not up at midnight.
No,
Um,
that's for sure.
by the way, I have more energy for this show than I've had probably ever because I took a nap. So you're welcome. Um, if you were here to listen to me, it's happening.
Yeah.
Um, but you might be right. You might be right. Maybe nobody else is doing that, and that's the perfect time to do a non-sport. I don't know. That's the problem. You have to, if you're going to sell live, you have to figure this out. And it's not that easy, and
Yeah.
it's ever changing. Versus you list it on eBay, you give someone your business card with the link to your eBay store, and you say, "Hey, you know, I list stuff here. You can look at it anytime you want." You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use your own data to increase your sales. So I go, I've talked about this in prior videos, like more static videos, not a live, but where I would say, I'm stretching out and I've sold some Kirby Puckett cards. So I'm going to buy more Kirby Puckett, and try to keep those customers coming back and buying more.
Right.
And that becomes a player that I buy more cards of now. You can sort of, and you should be able to do that with some of your live selling too, right? You do a show and you say, hey, is this a good time for everybody? Would there be a better time to do this type of show? Okay, 8 o'clock on Saturday instead of Tuesday. If that works in your schedule, maybe you can do that on your own and make those adjustments. And keep that inventory, that audience growing, but maybe not, you know.
Yeah.
And to me, the fear is still, I listed at $1, and if it's a $5 card, it sucks when it sells at $1. It just does.
Mm-hmm. Johnny M says he goes into eBay Live and runs buyers up all the time. Takes about 5 minutes to figure out who will overpay him by how much. The advantages of being a longtime poker player.
And I agree. I actually believe there's quite a bit of that type of bidding right
Yeah.
now on eBay Live. And I think the sellers are going to be in for a shock when that gets spread out and that's not happening anymore. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. And I don't know if eBay is going to do anything about it. If they're going to look at, shill bidding on the live selling side. I mean, they've been fighting shill bidding on traditional auctions for decades
Yeah.
and still struggle with it.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Now, what do you do if you're pushing that price up and nobody else bid and you win? Do you just pay for the card and suck it up, or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's a reason.
So,
There's a big reason I would never do it is because I don't want to be stuck with something I don't want to buy.
so I do this sometimes to support some of my peers. Like Adam, if you have a show, or Bull had his first show and I
Good.
watched that, I will certainly bid on cards that I have no intention of really winning to just help the show starting out,
Mhm.
right? I believe I'm a part of a community and I want to do my part to help some of my peers. So that's what I do. I bid on a lot of things that probably normally I wouldn't. Now, yeah, I've ended up purchasing a few cards that I really didn't want because I misplayed that hand, to put it in Johnny's parlance there. Um, but it is kind of fun in some of those streams because you can see people that are really there for the action
Right.
versus making good decisions, right?
Yeah. I mean, are they going to have to start support groups for people who are addicted to live auction buying? Probably.
It's it. I mean,
You know,
it's not a big jump to go
I mean,
from
there's
live.
support groups for people in breaks that get
Yeah,
addicted to breaking.
it's not a big jump to gambling addictions, right?
It's not. No.
Yeah, yep. Boomslang is here, and he says, "Yo."
Yo yo. I'll finish it up there for you.
There's the trifecta.
Well, welcome back. Yeah, you gotta have three. I gotta have three. I appreciate only doing one though, because three is for me. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the show. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. By the way, those of you who are on here, well, I guess whether or not you're watching it live or you're watching it recorded, if you could please give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying the conversation, we'd appreciate it. We love doing this live show. Like, I don't really make many YouTube videos anymore. I feel like a lot of the things I've wanted to say, I've said, and the rest, I like to talk about live. I think it's more engaging. I think I can get more thoughts out. It's obviously a lot easier to do. I don't have to do the editing and the uploading.
Yeah.
For being honest, it takes less time and effort that way. Um, but yeah, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We're here every Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time. If you think anybody else would enjoy the show, please send them, share the link, and get it out to them. And if you're not watching this live, try to join us live every Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time, so you can be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the plug.
Odd Merchant says, Bo, one of our peers, just dumped nearly his entire inventory. I almost said interview again. I don't know what's up with that. Might be a bad omen for me. His show is kind of pointless to watch now. I see him scrapping the YouTube show soon. Yeah, I haven't been up on the full conversation there. I put on his show a little bit the other night because I heard some talk of this. So I wanted to check it out a little bit more. And I haven't heard him really talk about what the future of his show looks like, but to an extent, you're right. Like, you know, Bo's show though talks about a lot of different things. It's not just about his card selling and how he does it. But I would think he's got plenty to talk about for the live selling as
The
well,
one,
because
the one
every
thing I,
experience is different.
the one thing I see that could complicate it for him is he's doing live shows later into the night now.
Yeah,
Is he going to want to be
changing
up
his
at?
schedule. Yeah,
Yeah, because he does a morning show, like that could start getting tougher.
yeah, he's
Um,
starting later now.
so then that goes back to that consistency. So now he's doing the live selling, but is that costing him on the YouTube audience? I don't know. You have to do. You only have so many hours. You got to decide where to put them. If the live selling is doing it for him, and he doesn't want to do the YouTube anymore, then he won't do the YouTube anymore.
Yeah,
I don't do many episodes or videos myself anymore. I just don't feel like I have as much like recorded content that I want to create. I really like doing the live. I feel like there's a lot more value in it, and I'm going to continue to for as long as Charlie wants to do it. I'm going to continue doing it because I think we get a lot out of it. I think
yeah,
there's a lot of things we kick back and forth. He has some different perspectives than I do, and I have some different ones than he does, and you guys throw out good stuff too. To me, the videos I was making, what I was trying to do, I'm now getting through Discord and the live show.
yeah.
Do you see what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
do I need to make a video about live selling if I'm doing this and having conversations on Discord and our audience is more engaging that way? Like, if I make a video, I just put it out there and you all have to deal with it. Like, it's, I mean, yeah, you can comment, but you can't, nobody else can contribute. And I don't really like that. I feel like that's not that I don't want to give my opinion or my perspective or my experience points, but I can do that and at the same time get more information and feedback from others. And I think there's just a lot more value in that.
Yep, for sure. Uh, Dan says he saw an A-Rod rookie go for over $40 on a live stream.
Well, it depends on what the rookie is. If it was an SP authentic foil and it's in good shape because that's condition sensitive, $40 would be a good deal. If it's a pinnacle rookie, yeah, that's quite an overpayment. So
Yeah,
A-Rod is sneaky though. A-Rod is sneaky. So I pass on it. I see A-Rod in boxes all the time, right? He's never going to be in the Hall of Fame, things like that. So people pass on him. And I've gotten some A-Rod cards over time just because they were in a collection or it was way underpriced. You know, it was a rare card, something like that. And I get buyers for A-Rod sometimes. He was a Yankee. You know, there's diehard Yankees that will buy, big Yankee fans that will buy any card of a guy in a Yankee uniform. So, you know, I don't know. What's your perspective on A-Rod? I'm not going to say he's a buy. Like, don't run out and buy A-Rod stuff.
Yeah.
um,
I tend to avoid him like the plague because I think he was a great ball player, and obviously we have local ties.
yeah,
He
played
kind
in
of came to
Appleton.
prominence playing in Appleton, just down the road
Mhm.
from us. Was amazing there, but nothing ever moves for him that I pick up, and
Yeah.
I don't deal in the big cards. I'm sure his big cards have some market yet. To your point, the better brands and lower print counts and stuff like that probably do all right.
Yeah.
But commons and basic inserts and stuff like that, like boy, I couldn't even tell you the last time I sold an A-Rod card, and I probably have a couple dozen of them in my store right now. So yeah.
Yeah, but that just goes back to that live thing. You know, is that sustainable? Now, did the next card be a Derek Jeter rookie and it went for $1?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well, that would make sense to me.
one of the things I hate about social media and video sites and all that is people get on there and they just talk about their wins. And that's very dangerous because the audience looking at that is like, oh, this is an easy buck. I'm going to do this, right? Like, oh, I get all these Pokemon and I flip them, and now what? Now what happens? People are fist fighting over Pokemon boxes. You know,
Yeah.
um, the Zion Williamson thing. I'll use that example probably forever because it literally was like the thing that compelled me to make videos and be like, dude, don't fall for this shit. You know,
Yeah.
um, those A-Rod rookies won't consistently sell for $40. It's just not. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
going to be some fluke sales, and like I said, I've had that with static auctions where I list something and I'm like, oh, this should go for like $2, and it goes for like 12. I'm like, why the hell did anybody? Why did anybody pay
It's a
$12 for
matter
this?
of
I'll
finding
take the
that right
$12.
person at the right time.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But what if you don't?
Yeah.
You know, now it just sells for your basement price, and
Yeah.
you know, if you still have margin at your basement price or your starting price, 99 cents or whatever you're starting it at, great. Then you're going to only get wins. But most aren't doing, you know, if you're selling a $40 card and you list it at 99 cents, I doubt you bought it for 10 cents.
Yeah.
So,
Good point. Odd Merchant says live auctions are for the ADHD generation. Yeah, I mean, there's something to that, right? Like, it's the constant activity, the entertainment value. There's usually music on most of them that I watch, and just horsing around. So, um, yeah, I think there's something to that. And as you look at the aging of our population, you know, there's a whole new generation that's coming up into the marketplace, and they are looking for that. You know, it's a generation that doesn't talk on a phone anymore. They text, right? They
well,
need
that's me.
videos for everything, right?
That's me.
So,
That's me. I don't talk on the phone either. Um, no, I think you're right. I think they're interactive. Like, they consider this hanging out, being on a live auction site. Like, to me, that's not hanging out.
yeah,
You know, but yeah, things take different definitions, and like you know, young adults now when they're like, oh, you know, I'm looking for a date, they go to an app and try to find somebody. Like, that's super weird to me.
yeah,
Like, I would go to a bar with my buddies and I'd be like, she's cute, I'll go talk to her. You know, that was how we did it. You know, and that's just not how things are now. Now you just swipe left, right? You know, when
yeah,
you're looking for somebody. Um, and it's probably to some degree that same way for cards. You know, I'm looking for an A-Rod card. Why just look it up on eBay and price compare. I'll just go, hey, this guy's show is pretty fun. I'll give him $40 for it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would think that price awareness matters for every generation, especially when you don't have as much money, which usually that's the younger generation is the ones that don't have wealth yet.
Yeah.
Um, can you count on them to consistently overpay? I don't think so. You know, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this whole thing is like everybody's like, I don't care what it's worth. I'm paying it because they played AC/DC in the background. Like that blows my
I
mind. Like I
want
would
it.
never do
I'm
that.
gonna pay whatever I gotta pay to get it.
But you can get it right now.
Violet
You can get
Beauregard. Remember that name?
it. No.
Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want it, and I
Oh,
want it now.
oh, I want it now. But
Yes.
Daddy, I want it now. Where is my Wonka? Or where? What did she say? Where is my golden ticket?
Yes.
What happened to her in the end, though?
She got sent to the squeezer.
That's correct because she turned into a blueberry. Violet was turning violet.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah,
But she did get to find out that the snozberries taste like snozberries.
snozberries. Correct.
Odd Merchant says you're right about the hype machine, Adam. Yeah, it's definitely hyped right now.
Now, to kind of piggyback on Charlie earlier with his disclosure, because Charlie's like that, which is good. Disclosures are good. I'm not putting down live selling, right? I think live selling it's not going to go away. It's something I want to smartly incorporate with my business, but I don't want to just throw everything away and jump into that because I think that's my biggest point in here is to provide the warning. The inspiration to do my channel was always to try to help others just look at things a little bit, like chill. Don't list 10,000 cards in one day. You can't handle the inventory and the shipping yet, right? I've said that 1,000 times too. I get it. You're excited. Live selling. Whoosh, I can buy these cards and I can just flip them. Slow down. Think about it a little bit. Try to understand what is your, just like listing cards, right? Charlie, you and I early on talked and you're like, well, I got to be the basement price. And I'm like, no, you got to decide what your brand is going to be. Are you Skechers or are you Nike? But then on same on the other side where you're like, well, I got this card listed for $5 and he offered me $4.50. I don't want to take it. And I'm like, well, what did you pay for it? A quarter. Take the damn $4.50. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't just jump, especially if others are jumping. That's a very scary thing to just do. You really have to kind of think it out and decide what is this going to look like for you and how are you going to do this? And where do you want to put your time? You put all your time into this live selling because that's what everybody has to do right now. What if it doesn't work out? That's time lost trying to build somewhere else,
Yeah.
Now, if you're big and you can hire people and you can, hire a 24-hour lister, breaker, live auction person, that's game changers, right? Because you should be, if you're going to do that and you're going to build those kinds of expenses into a business, then yes, you need to live sell. You need to have your own website. You need to have a physical store. You need to have a 24-hour breaker. You need to, right?
Yeah.
That's different because now you have these, you're spending the money to be able to make it worth doing all those things. But if you're going to be a casual single seller type of person, you can only go to so many places. It's just reality. You're one person, especially if you're doing it as part-time or a hobby or little extra cash flow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, why do you need to sell live and move this stuff fast? Like what's the goal here? What are you trying to do? Selling it faster doesn't mean you get more money.
Yeah.
In fact, it's generally the opposite. I think we're seeing some experience with some live selling where the things are going for bigger money, but I don't think that's the majority of it. And even the ones that are doing that, it's because they have a smaller market competition for whatever reason that is, because of the platform they're on, or they have a huge following built or something like that. Well, that's not you. If you're just starting now, that's not going to be you. So,
Yeah.
um, how much of that growth pain do you want to try to get through and not make any money or lose money until maybe you get to that point? It's just like YouTube, right? So when YouTube started to be like this big thing, oh my God, people make money just doing YouTube videos. Everybody's like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and get 1 million followers. Well, that's not real. Like that doesn't happen for most channels.
Yeah, that's everything has their outliers, right? And there are a large majority that never hit that.
Yeah, it's needle in a haystack. It's like so this is a sports cards channel, right? So let's compare it to sports, right? So you're a pretty good little league player, right? And you make it up to high school and you letter in high school and you make the state team and all this stuff. Are you going to be a major league baseball player? Probably not.
So probably not. Yeah.
Very, very slim chance. So yeah, I don't know. It's smarter to kind of stay within yourself and then kind of build on that. And then if you see things really taking off and you really got somewhere to go with it, and then you really want to buy into it, that's fine. I don't think that's a smart idea from day one.
Right. Odd Merchants says he does like the flexibility of buy it now. I have a family, I can't be spending evenings, especially during the school year, doing a live. The relationship with my kids is more important. Yeah, it's you got to figure out that right balance, right? Like live selling takes a higher level of time commitment with less flexibility than buy it now selling.
And you got to stay consistent.
Yeah.
If your peak audience time for your show is Sunday at 7 p.m., you got to do that every Sunday at 7
Yeah.
p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Look like us, right? We just talked about that with our YouTube show. Like we early on, we both said it's got to be consistent. We want the same time. We want the same day. So even when holidays hit, we're like, doesn't matter if it's Christmas. We got to try to do this show. You know, in a couple of weeks, this live night is going to land on the first day we're in the Nationals. So we're going to set up in the hotel and do a live show with some exceptions. Now, we had one show we didn't do in the last like 2 years. But outside of that, we're here every Wednesday, and that's what it takes.
Yeah.
If you're going to build your regular, YouTube audience, you got to consistently make videos and put them out, and you have your topics that you normally cover, and like there's that's a lot. It's a big
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah.
YouTube's tough, isn't it, Charlie?
It is. It is. You got to find the right content and the right setup, and there's a lot of competition is the big thing. Yeah, and
And
time. Yeah, yeah. A 15-minute video could take you 3 hours. So.
yeah,
Um. Well, look who's here! 1 Million Cubs Project. Bo is with us tonight. We've been talking a little bit about some of his changes. He says, I'll never scratch the YouTube show, Odd Merchants. I don't want to give up that $1.47 a day income from YouTube.
yeah. It's funny because well, not so much now because I don't make as many videos. But I used to get messages from people like, oh, I want to make $1,000 a month doing, and I'm like, dude, I don't make $1,000 a month doing YouTube. Like, I don't know where you're getting these numbers from. Um, yeah, it's not nearly as lucrative as people think it is. Yeah, obviously, if you have a huge
Especially if you have
audience and you
Mr.
get
Beast or something like that.
right, yeah, if you have something not as niche as what we do, and you're getting these big views and stuff like that, well, yeah, obviously the income increases. But um, no, and I kind of agree with Charlie. He spoke on this earlier, Bo. I don't know if you were here then, but well, obviously you were because you're replying to it. But um, there's other parts of your show. Like it's not just about like listing on eBay and whatever. So um, I think you should continue to do it, but I think you might be pressed to have a later start time if you're running your live shows later at night, which I can understand because doing this show later at night is hard for me. And I thought about that a lot too, where it's like, okay, like today I was able to take a nap, which was glorious. but I'm an early morning guy and I like to do my work early in the morning. So that's the cost. When
Yeah.
I do a live show, and I can't do this kind of like live selling. I can't do this live show at 2 in the afternoon. No one's going to watch it.
Right.
People are working and doing whatever. So um, it's got to be a nighttime show or an early morning show. I guess you can. That's kind of traditionally been a good time to do talk shows type stuff too. But that doesn't really work for us, for me or Charlie. To do like an 8 a.m. show. So
Right.
8 p.m. it is. That's when we're doing it. And luckily, we're able to do it on a Wednesday because we're not trying to get sales or anything. So we can kind of still pick our own day. Because I wouldn't want to do this on a Friday night or a Saturday night.
Right.
There are other parts of our lives we want to, have commitments to. But yeah. So, but anyway, Bo, keep doing the show. I don't watch it every day, but it's really fun. Right now, it's fun for me to watch your show because you're kind of going in different directions than I'm going. For a while we were like, yes, do this, yes, yes, yes. We were kind of, on that same path. And I feel like now we have a little bit different strategies and a little bit different way we're doing some of the business. I started a second store. You said you'd never do that, things like that. So it's good. I like to see, where your stuff is going. And,
Yeah.
um, anyway, hopefully you get the same thing out of our show.
I miss Bo's show. I haven't been able to watch in a while live because the man keeps me tied to a desk in my 9 to 5, or I guess these days it's like 6:30 to 3. But it used to be I was able to work part-time remote. So when I was home, I could throw you on in the background there, Bo. And now they took that away too because I got to be in the office full time now. So
Yeah.
I only get the replays, and I miss the Friday trivia and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and
I,
it's just
I,
not the
I,
same watching the replay because I want to be interactive in the chat.
Yeah, and I don't. I mainly watch it as a replay too, just because I don't turn the TV on in the morning. I'm doing other things, so
Yeah,
and that's generally where I watch YouTube, is on the TV. So, but that's fine. That's one of the other things I love about this format for our show is you don't have to be here live.
yeah,
It's going to be posted and somebody can watch it later. Um, they can still make comments on it. We still give comments on our videos, after it's been posted. They can still read the comments from those that were here live. So
yeah,
it's nice. You can be here live or you don't have to be. We prefer as many people to be live as possible because, like you
definitely.
said, you get that engagement. You can be a part of it. But I get it too. Wednesday 8 p.m. That's kids baseball night. That's that's my bowling night. That's not whatever. It's my wife's doing yoga, so I got the kids and we're out doing something else. I get it. It's hard to pin down. This is the time when everybody does this thing. Like that's not how it works anymore. Like, I mean, I was trying to explain to Luna, my daughter, about TV shows. Like, this show was on at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, and that was it. If you like pre DVR, right? Like, you couldn't even
Yeah,
record. You either watched it, you either sat on that couch at 8 p.m. or you didn't get it, and everybody was going to tell you about it the next day. And that was
yeah.
it.
Did you
And then
really blow
Bane,
her mind and tell her about how, like, at 2 a.m. the national anthem would play, and then you just
yep.
had static on TV?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny you bring that up because I was showing. Do you remember Palabra Jot?
No.
Which was like, okay, so it was this program on public television, and it was this little like inchworm thing, right? He was animating or like claymation or whatever.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, they would show him falling asleep in the chair, and the flag thing would come up, da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 and then yeah, it would go to the popcorn on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, "What is going on?" And I'm like, "That's what would happen. The TV would literally like turn off. Programming would
Day's
end for
over.
the
There's
day.
nothing on TV
That's it.
anymore. Yeah.
That was it. Flag was up. You're done."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, Wednesday at 8, you had to sit here if you wanted to watch that show. That was it. There was no other option. And she was just like, "That sucks. Why couldn't you just watch it when you wanted?" And I'm like, Well, that's why that's why now you can, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting, you know, seeing those dynamics change. And you're right. I think that's the big thing with live selling is it's an on demand society these days. Like if somebody wants to do something right now and you tell them no, they're like, well, why can't I? Why do I have to wait
Right.
till tomorrow? Why do I have to wait 7 days for this auction to end? That's dumb. I'll just go on Whatnot and I'll find one right now for $1, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it is, or I'll even overpay so I don't have to wait for the other auction to end. Like I can see why that happens, especially during this hype time,
Yeah.
you know, of it being such a big influence.
Yep, for sure. Boomslang says he's got some good non-sports sales, also almost equal to his sports cards.
Non-sport is, yeah. So welcome to the show. That's my focus. It's all the non-sport right now for sure. What did I just put? I just put a card over here. I was going to show it to you too. Where the hell did I put it now? I think it's in this spot. So I got these. Have you seen these yet? These pieces of the past. Have you seen these cards? You got like a
No,
gold
they
bowl
sound
one.
familiar though.
Yeah, like I got this. Look at how cool that Sitting Bull card is.
Yeah.
I think that's dope. Here's
Is
Herbert
that upper
Hoover.
deck?
Herbert Hoover. No, this is Super. Remember the Super products where we had like the Mike Tyson and that Super Glow?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same company. Same
Okay.
company. So here's Herbert Hoover. You know, anytime you get like presidents and stuff, you know. So I just found this set and I'm like, oh my god, I got to go get all these now. So something I might look for at the national. But that and the other thing, I'm going to give you guys one of my current plays. I don't do that anymore, but tonight you're in luck. So one of my other things that I'm doing right now is playing cards, themed playing cards. So like
No.
these are Back to the Future. I did a bunch of Lord of the Rings ones that did pretty well for me. Here's Ninja Turtles ones. So like here's the Joker card. It's got all the turtles on it. You know, here's Splinter. You know, so it's got all the characters. April O'Neil. You can get these pretty cheap. Obviously, buy the whole deck. You know, $4 or $5 or whatever, and you get 52 cards to list, and it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Um, and they look cool. You know, double. You know, nice designs, color designs both sides. And like here's the other side of the Ninja Turtles. It's like the pizza box design. Um, so yeah, that's one of the things that I'm adding on now
Yeah.
too. And they're fun. They're fun. They're easy to list. Obviously, they don't show up in like Card Dealer Pro, so
Yeah.
that part kind of stinks. But once you list one, you know you just do sell similar and keep going. But I really like these Lord of the Rings ones. I love the border and the shots from the movie and stuff. Like here's a what do you call this? A Urukai warrior or I don't know. I'm not that big into Lord of the
Is that,
Rings. I can't
is
remember.
that an orc?
Or an orc. There you go. But look at the back. Look at how cool that you know it's like the poster design from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, yeah, that stuff's great.
Nice.
So yeah, it's to me, it's still about the outside of the you know thinking outside the box. That's where I'm the most successful in my sales. Is yeah, selling the you know Bobby Witt Jr. card, great. You know, we're all doing that. But what are the things that I can put out there that hardly anybody else is or nobody is? Just like you alluded to earlier with like, oh, I was going to list this non-sport card. Dang it, there's somebody out here selling it, and it's me,
Yeah.
right? You know, because you and I, you know, we talk so much now that you know a lot of our plays ended up kind of becoming the same. You
Yeah.
know, our background plays that not everybody knows about. We tend to sort of replicate on our own time. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with him. Non-sport has been huge for me
It does
for
well.
sure. Yep.
Dan says reason why I would think of doing a live is due to I have at least 6K of inventory not listed, and a live show would be nice just to liquidate some of it quickly by showing it on camera live.
Sure. Yep.
I mean, if your priority is getting rid of it, that is a way to do it.
it's going to take you a lot of live time on camera to sell 6K, just so you're. So
True.
the thought is, oh, I can move this stuff quicker, but you still have to put each card on a camera. You also need somebody to bid on it. Like, you're not guaranteed to just put 6,000 cards on there and they all sell. Um, unless they're $10 cards and you're starting at $1. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if
Yeah.
it's a lot of base and stuff you don't want to list because it's not great sellers, you're not going to sell all of it. So you're still going to have, those cards to deal with, whether you decide to do lots or something like that. Um, to bring down the price per card, whatever. There's obviously lots of other options to go, but
Right.
it's not a guaranteed thing. Just that if you do it live, it's just going to sell.
And he goes on to say, for instance, I still have all the Star Wars sticker cards I picked up at the National still in a box. Well, here's the thing, Dan. They never go bad. They don't
Yeah,
go stale.
no expiration date, and I'll do you one better. I'll buy them, Dan.
Yeah.
Send me the list and the price.
Yeah.
I
I mean, a
just bought
product like that.
I just bought a non-sport lot off of one of our Discord,
Yeah.
members yesterday or 2 days ago. Come to think of it, that should be here
That
probably
reminds me.
tomorrow.
I
Should be
was
here
I
tomorrow.
was I went in there the other day looking back at one of those offers out there because I wanted to buy those KO boxing cards, but I couldn't
Yep.
find the post. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I've actually gotten pretty good inventory just out of our Discord. That's been a big
Yeah.
advantage for me because somebody's like, "Hey, I got the." That's how I got all the GI Joe cards, which, by the way, are selling very well.
Good.
Um,
Go,
yeah,
Joe.
somebody was like, "I got all these GI Joe cards. Do these sell?" And I'm like, "I'll buy them all. What do you want?" So that's been a great resource for me to get inventory now too. Because the problem with non-sport is it's hard to get at shows. They
Yeah.
just don't show up much.
Yep. Lions card says, I won't touch whatnot because the higher ups seem really slimy in his opinion. After the whole backyard breaks fiasco, their silence told me everything I need to know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was not a good look for whatnot.
and that's one of my things. I don't necessarily want to tie my business to a business like that. Um, and even though like I'm not part of whatnot itself, if I'm selling on whatnot, I'm still sort of supporting their business practices and their policies and their the way they do business. And I don't. It's not really the way I want to do business. So I don't know. But yeah, I don't know that everybody else thinks of that. Like, oh well, I wouldn't buy from him because he's on whatnot, but I do. For me, that's not the look that I necessarily want to
Yeah.
present.
Bargain Boxer is here and says the real question is why isn't Adam selling on eBay Live like Bo?
Yeah,
Stay tuned.
yeah. Well, you asked me that the last time, and I explained that to you. I've applied, and they haven't accepted me or turned me on, whatever. So I can't. I will be doing live selling on eBay, once I can get in there and do it, but I can't right now. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing more of this like background investigation and how much of this do I want to do because I can right now. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. Like if I want to do, I'm on Whatnot. I can just go do live selling on Whatnot every day if I really want to. So it's not like I'm. Oh, it's because I can't do live selling. No, that's not true at all. I'm evaluating how I want to incorporate it
Yeah.
and how much of it I want to do. I don't think it's going to be the biggest part of my business ever. Unless things really change in the market. Um, I still like to buy it now for a lot of the reasons we discussed. I still like that way better. So I mean that's still going to be my overall focus.
Um, Branded Collectibles has a couple of comments here. He's sharing his experience and whatnot, and I want to share that with everybody. If you would have asked me a year ago if I would do live selling, it would have been a hard no. It doesn't suit my personality, not my speed, etc. Really isn't the boogeyman it's made out to be. Sounds like so. At times we kind of talk ourselves out of things, right? And it sounds like he kind of went through that phase. But now almost every show he has, someone comments, really like your format without the pressure, yelling, etc. Of course, his target is the PC collector, not the flipper, because that's what he is.
Mhm.
Um, and he says, I don't know, just speaking from my experience, where I totally overthought the whole experience, and it's actually been enjoyable. And I
And
think
that's a big,
Bo would
honestly,
tell
that's,
us that too.
yeah, and actually that's a big part of it. If you enjoy doing it, sure, of course. Why wouldn't, you know, and you're getting some sales and you're getting good feedback, and sure, of course, do it. That hasn't really been I haven't really enjoyed it that much, to be honest with you. So that's a big part of it too for me. Um, and it kind of felt like I was doing two different businesses, right? So like I'm on Whatnot, I just have these like random cards on there, and then I have eBay. Well, I can't really promote eBay on Whatnot, and I can't really promote my Whatnot on eBay. So like I can't really tie the businesses together, the audiences together, or whatever you want to call it. So that I feel like eBay Live is still going to be my best course, um, because I'm not taking down my buy now listings ever. um, so I would rather continue to build on that and just adding a lot. Just like I do auctions every month, right? They give me an allotment of auctions. I do those every month. So as soon as I'm on eBay Live, I'll be doing that.
Yeah.
Not every day. I'm not doing an everyday show. I'm probably not going to do 3 days a week show, but once or twice a week, it would be a way to just get some stuff moving.
Yeah.
Get some new followers, spark some views into the store to sell some more buy it now cards, and essentially advertising for yourself, right? Doing your own promotion is really what the live selling would be. That's how I view it. That's my perspective on that one.
Yep. Yep. Bargain Boxer says, "Are people really going on eBay Live and just throwing bids just to cost guys more money? What the hell are we doing?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are,
that it
and
is
I've
happening.
seen that. To me, that's one of eBay Live's biggest problems right now. I don't think it happens as much on Whatnot, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Not that I don't have data. I don't watch, streams all day long or anything, but the couple that I've participated in eBay, I'm like, God, somebody's driving up these prices. It's pretty obvious.
yeah,
It's pretty obvious. So I don't know if they're going to do anything about that, or what, if they even care. I don't know.
yeah,
But it does seem like that's happening. So as a buyer, I don't really participate in eBay Live because the few I've watched, I'm like, the prices didn't make sense.
yeah,
So I'm not going to be a buyer there. So, an educated buyer isn't going to pay 3 times what something is worth. Like it doesn't, even if you're having fun in the stream, I don't know why you would do that.
yeah.
You can
I,
still be in the stream and have fun and not like bid 3 times I don't know.
yeah. I mean, some of the stories we're hearing are just crazy high bids, right? But I
Mhm.
will say there is some strategy involved in bidding things up sometimes.
Sure.
I talked earlier. Hey, I'll support my peers by throwing out bids to get things warmed up on things, for people doing their, peers that are doing their first sales, because
Yeah.
one bid generates more bids is the way I look at it, right? So I try
Yeah.
to help people out doing that. But the other thing, when I'm a true buyer and I go into a live stream and I identify rather quickly that, okay, there's somebody out there bidding a lot and, just trying to dominate, right? I will try and bid things up that I know they're going after, because when we get halfway through that live stream, I'm hoping they've gone through their budget and now there's going to be more opportunities for me. So sometimes there is some strategy to that, not forexing bids that have no business happening, but I will throw an extra bid out there just to try and get that other buyer to get through whatever they budgeted for that live stream a little sooner.
Or if you're a buyer collector, you just go into eBay, type in the card, and buy a copy and be done with it.
Yeah, that's true.
I
That's
just I don't understand the huge time investment of these buyers, and then overpaying, and you don't even know what cards are going to be in the stream. So like you sit there through that whole thing, Like maybe they'll put a Ken Griffey Jr. card up, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Ken Griffey Jr. singles auction, I'm not guaranteed to get that. And most live sellers don't go preload all the images of the cards and all that because the whole point is to make it faster, right? To do spend less time on listing and whatever. So it's like I don't know. I guess a lot of people have a lot more free time than I do, right? Maybe that's a big part of it too. They just sit in bed at night and hope, they jump on a stream and it's got some card they might be interested in that they can overpay for. Like
Yeah.
I would just, I want this Ken Griffey Jr. card and I want to pay $10 for it. I would just type it in on eBay and buy one and be done with it. Like
Yeah.
I don't get the point of doing the stream part
Yeah.
as a buyer on the buyer side.
Yeah. From a product standpoint, I can't say there's been a lot I've seen in live sales that I couldn't just type in on eBay and find, right?
Right.
So and then I know exactly what it's going to cost me, and 9 times out of 10, you can find something in the price range you're willing to pay. So
And a lot of the live streams, they charge shipping. So now you
yeah,
buy a card, now you put the pressure on yourself to try to get more cards to make the shipping worth it. And like you could
yeah,
just go to eBay and throw stuff in a cart and check out and do it that way instead.
yep, that's true.
Or go to your local show. If you don't want to pay eBay fees or eBay's evil, whatever, whatever. I'm not on eBay, whatever. Well, you could probably still spend less time and effort on a common card and just go to a show and pick it up and pay cash and be done with it versus
Yeah,
waiting for it to try to show up in some stream somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Up next, CCM is here. Up next, trading cards. Evening,
Welcome.
y'all. Hope everyone is having a great hump day. Don't forget to slap that like button. Thank you for
Thanks,
mentioning that.
buddy. Thanks, buddy. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I guess I'm so torn between do I like it? Don't I like it? I know that if I can build it in eBay, it's a much higher probability that it's something I would
Yeah,
consistently do because I look at it as a way to help promote my brand, which is what a lot of my focus is on my store. That's how you get ahead of your competition. And it would allow me to be on camera, not necessarily face on camera, but voice on camera, and just give a more personal touch to my eBay store and all that. And then maybe get some new buyers who aren't buying by it now, but do the live stream thing and vice versa. Um, versus like just randomly doing a show on Whatnot just doesn't seem like
yeah.
it fits into what I'm trying to do.
Timothy Little is here. It says selling live does have advantages. All the cards you are going to sell have been predetermined. You don't have to look through hundreds of SKUs like Buy It Now, and you don't have to use Card Dealer Pro. Fair.
True, but you got to be well. There's other things that are taking your time though. This argument is true, but it's only one side of it. Like you have to be on camera that whole time. You still have to ship. You still have to pull those cards. You have to curate what you're going to put in your show. Um, if you're going to do a modern baseball show, you still have to pull out modern baseball card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's still time, effort, and I kind of like the way. One of the things I do like about Bo's Live selling, the one that I did watch, was whatever cards didn't sell, he put in lots at the end of the night and sold them that way.
yes,
So
yes,
I like that because at least you can move all this stuff. You really might not get much money for some of those cards, but as long as you made money on others, you feel like that's fine, especially if you have a low buy-in price on it.
yeah,
So I do like that strategy. So I'm learning by watching some live streams too, which is that's the right step for me to take right now since I'm not doing it to at least figure out what I want to do. So when I get on there, it's not I don't make the mistakes, if you will. Hopefully.
right.
Um, but there's still work to doing a live. If you're going to be on a live show from 7 at night to 11 o'clock at night because you got 6,000 cards you want to run through or whatever, that's still the same chunk of time as it would have taken you to scan them into Card Dealer Pro. And you know what I mean? You're
Yeah,
just trading your time from doing one thing to doing another thing. Now, if you're like, I love to be live on camera, and if I'm on there for 6 hours, I enjoy that, and I hate Car Dealer Pro and I hate listing. Well, yeah, then now you're spending your time doing something you enjoy more.
Right.
But that's a different conversation than, well, I'm saving time because I don't have to run it through Car Dealer Pro. Yeah, but you're spending that time somewhere else.
Yeah. And ultimately, he says, just find 100 or so cards and run them. Branded Collectibles seconds that. Just don't, again, we go back to the don't overthink it. Just
Yeah.
get out there and do it if you want to do it.
And that's what I did. I did a football show and I literally just grabbed a stack of like football cards that I hadn't listed and I did a show. I sold 25 of them or so, which I thought was pretty good because a lot of it is base and 90s players and stuff like that. But it was an hour and a half show, something like that, but plus my setup time or whatever. And I got $25. Like it wasn't a game changer.
Yeah.
And some of those cards I would have got more money for if I'd have listed them. Because I
Sure.
would have listed them at a higher price. But they wouldn't have sold instantly. So I understand the time value. We just talked about this earlier with Charlie. Don't wait for the 450. Sell the damn thing. You got your profit.
Yeah.
So I understand the nickel today versus dime tomorrow thing, but that's not the only factor. There's other things to consider
Right.
when doing sales.
Well, we're going to go through a few more chats here, but it's getting close to time to wrap things up. So we're going to
Yeah,
move through these kind of quickly.
rapid fire.
Bargain Boxer says American Arbitrage is ADHD's best friend, and you got Dave into cards. Great, more
And,
competition.
and
Never a
what's funny
shortage of
is, yeah, and what's funny is American Arbitrage used to be like an antiques kind of dealer or a flea market dealer, right? And
that.
he
Yeah,
switched to cards, so he was never a cards either. As a matter of fact, he watched my channel. I
yeah,
talked to him a couple times because he had posted on there like, "Hey, getting into cards. I like your content," and part of it was just him making efforts to build his content, which is fine. I understand the game.
yeah,
um, but yeah, so you're right. You're right. There's other people that are getting pulled into it now because they're not either having success doing the other thing or they're just finding this an easier thing to do.
yeah. That's what Bargain Boxer says here. These are garage sale guys who are dipping their toes into the card flipping.
Yep, correct.
And there's always that crowd that comes and goes, right? So
Hmm.
he says another dude is picking and punching. Garage sale flippers are now flipping cardboard. and and probably my favorite comment, Judge Judy greater than Matlock.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're not the same thing though, are they?
Wow, they're
Like
not. They're not.
Matlock is like a fake investigator show, right? I mean, it's a scripted TV show, and
Yeah,
Judge Judy is
is
a
a
judge for live
classic
cases, right?
TV
Yeah,
show.
yeah, like small claims court stuff, right? Like Judge
Just
Wapner.
remember, words of wisdom from Judge Judy. My opinion's the only one that matters.
Well, when you're the judge, yes, that's true. She's exactly right.
She's a little harsh sometimes.
It's like I tell my soccer players when they disagree with the ref, and I'm like, great, it doesn't change anything. Like you have to go out there and defend against this penalty kick now. Like
Yeah.
the screaming and yelling and complaining about it, that's really not going to change any outcome because they're the people controlling the game, not us. So
That's right. I learned long ago not to really argue with the officials because you will never win that conversation.
to me, the biggest thing I learned in my years playing was early on in the game to understand what was important to those referees and what they were going to call. And then you just play within whatever their parameters are. Like,
Yeah.
well, they're not going to aggressively call like pushing fouls and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Great. I'm going to use my body more in this game because they're permitting to do it.
Yeah.
They call everything. You touch somebody and they fall and you get a foul. Well,
Yep.
guess what? Less aggressive play tonight is what's in store. So
Yep.
yeah, sometimes you just have to adjust what you're doing to whoever has the actual control.
Yep. Brandon Collectibles says, "Don't know what sellers y'all are following. This hasn't been my experience at all." Which great, but this stuff is happening out there. A lot of different sources. Some that we have direct connections to. Some just incidental feedback we see in different sources. But this stuff is happening out there. There's some crazy stuff. I think you're fortunate you haven't really been involved in any of that.
Yeah, and I think most random live sellers are not going to experience a lot of that. You're going to
Sure.
get, I'm selling a $5 card. I'm going to get a buck or two for it.
Yep.
That's probably what most, you know, the vast majority of those live streams are doing. Um, but yeah, as competition increases, those prices are going to drop too.
Yeah.
You know,
Bargain Boxer says, "Have you seen that some whatnot sellers are crashing out because their cards aren't selling for what they want?" And he loves seeing that. Yeah,
that's
it's a big
exactly what I
thing.
was saying.
It's the
Yeah,
big thing, right? So people
yeah.
rush in, and then they find out, oh, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, and they go someplace else.
And then they join our Discord to find out like the correct way to run a card selling business. No, I'm just joking. Um, yeah, I how can you not see that coming? Like, I don't understand that. Like,
Yeah,
unless you're completely green to everything business in the world, like it's that's exactly what's going to happen. You're not making $1 million starting a YouTube channel. Like, dude,
yep,
you gotta live within the reality. And I've told this story before. I think I've told you this before about the guy who, when I was working at the credit union, who came in with a check that where he won the money from the Canadian lottery. Did I ever tell you
yeah,
about that? And he's like, "Well, I called you because you're my banker, and I wanted you to look at it. Is this real?" And I said, "Hey, Jim, did you ever play the Canadian lottery?" And just the look of defeat. And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "How can you win a lottery you never played?" But he
yeah,
was so excited to get a $3,000 check in the mail.
yeah.
He wanted it to be real so bad.
Right.
He was willing to throw out all his rational sense and try to deposit this damn check, and we were going to
Yeah,
charge him because it's no good.
yeah,
And just, yeah, you have to you can't jump on this stuff. You got to sit back, think about it a little bit, and then start making some moves. That makes sense.
yeah.
Yo, yo,
So
yo, love
yeah,
this show.
yeah. SoCal guy 1967 is here. He says, very informative. Keep up the good
Welcome.
work.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you.
Nando 2066 says hello, everyone. I
Hello, welcome. I, is that a monkey drinking coffee? Or what is that?
think so.
Does he have a human hand?
It looks like a
What's
doll
a
hand.
human hand? It looks like some of our AI results when we try to have goats
Yeah,
do things. And it's like, why does he have 9 fingers and why are they human? Like, what is going on here? AI does some pretty wild stuff sometimes.
it does. Yeah. Art wants to know. He says, curious how sales have been for you both. Last week in particular has been really, really nice for me. Crushing year over year comps.
Yeah, overall, yes, I would agree with that. But it's been in different areas. Like I'm selling less of some of the standard sports cards I was selling. Like Patrick Mahomes stuff is like dead. I'm not selling hardly any of it right now. So like players that I had consistently good sales on, but non-sport has picked up so much. So it's like even though I've dipped on like some areas, I've increased on others. My non-sport store is up like 70% in sales. It's insane.
Okay.
And that's also due to increasing listings, you know, getting more consistent follower base, they're regular buyers and stuff too. But yeah, I've definitely seen, more increase in growth in that area than I have. I've had a good increase on, but I've been focusing more on it. I've been buying more of it, and listing more of it. So it's like,
Sure.
I feel like the numbers are coming just because that's where I want the numbers to come from, or where I feel like the numbers will come from. Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, pretty good. You?
Yeah. I feel the same. I feel like results have been good of late. You still get this one random day here and there, like once every couple weeks. That I'm like, wow, that's these don't happen too often anymore. But it continually springs right back in pretty short order. So yeah, I think the market's been going pretty well for products I have out there as well. I don't know that I can say any certain category is dominating. My sales have been pretty much all over the place. Now that said, I focus mostly on baseball, football, wrestling, and non-sport, with a little bit of racing mixed in there and a few other things, a little bit of basketball. But um, it it's not like my sales have been dominated by any kind of outlier where,
Yeah, yeah.
man, it's another football card and another football card. And although now that I look at some sales from during the show, there's like a 9 card football order that just went up.
Football's been picking up more recently,
Yeah.
but I've been selling more of like the vintage guys, like
Yeah.
Troy Aikman and
Jerry Rice.
Deion Sanders. Yeah, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. I had a couple
Roger
Joe
Staubach.
Montana, and kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. I had a couple Joe Montana cards I listed this morning. They both sold already.
Yep.
So it's like, well, why do a live sale when I can get exactly what I want for it just by having customers that are looking at my store? So
Yep.
um, yeah, I've been selling. Steve Young has been a decent seller for me recently.
Yep.
Yeah, so more of that than like ultra modern stuff. Has been better movers for me too.
Pujols has been heating up for me on the baseball side.
Okay.
Not that he's normally got some sales, but I feel like
Mhm.
he's
Yeah,
picked
for
up
sure.
as it gets closer and closer to that inevitable call from the Hall of Fame, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean he's a shoe in.
Yeah.
Unless something drastic happens in the meantime. But I don't think he's eligible for what, a couple of years yet. It's 5 years. Is
Yeah,
it a
one,
5 year
two
rule in
years, I
baseball?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not a bad time if you can get his stuff at a good price to stock up because it'll happen. Um, the other big boost I got was, and I hate to say this, but that the soccer player that passed away. Um, I had a decent amount and some decent cards of his, and I sold every one of them like within a day. So full price. Um, that's the other thing I like about having stuff listed at Buy It Now,
Yeah.
right? So that was sitting there waiting, and again, I'm not capitalizing on a tragedy. That was never my goal. Um, but those cards were there, and for a few months, and hadn't really had the sales, and then lo and behold, something happens, and boom, now there's a reason to, that there's buyers and they're buying all those cards. So
Right.
I didn't have to time that; it was just there, ready for when things would happen.
Yep. Boomslang says some of his non-sports is 68 Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. It's a great
Raffins,
show.
yeah,
73 Creature Feature cards and 77 Charlie's Angels cards.
yeah. I've been selling a lot of Star Wars lately. Ninja Turtle stuff's been doing pretty well. As far as older stuff goes, the Dallas cards were doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't have much. I don't have much of that left now, but they were consistent for a while. Um, Trying to think what else vintage. I sold some Kung Fu, which is an older set, 60s set. Wacky Packages has done older Wacky Packages stuff. And then, of course, Cacawao, man. Nailing it with the Cacawaos. They're still
Speak,
moving.
Speaking of vintage, my brother sent me a checklist of cards he wants me to try and source from him at the National for 76, 77 baseball and football. He wants some cards from the Big Red Machine in 76, and then he wants some Oakland Raider cards from 76 and 77. So I'm gonna have to hit some vintage tables.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find commons at the National, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
Um, when I first started doing this, I was like, oh, I'll just go to a few tables and buy out some boxes, and I was like, man, I didn't find much of it.
Yeah.
Um, which makes sense because they're like, well, I don't want to use up all my table space on selling whole boxes for $25, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I understand on the dealer side, and you got to haul it, it's waste stuff, all that stuff too. But
Hmm.
yeah, I guess I just would have thought I would have seen more of it, but
Yeah. Yeah. JG is here and says Bo had a WNBA night, cards going 15x buy it now prices. It was insane.
yeah, and that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I don't see that being sustainable.
Yeah, it's
I
hard to
mean,
imagine
I'm
that going
happy
on.
for Bo. Like, that's awesome. Good
Yeah,
for you. But when there's more people doing those shows and stuff like that, that's going to decrease for
sure.
sure.
Yeah. Fallen Prime is with us tonight. Which, by the way, if you're a Transformers fan, I had a day where I came home early from work about a week ago with some back issues, and I found myself laying on the bedroom floor for the afternoon with a heating pad and looking for something to put on the TV, and I found Transformers 1.
Yeah, the original storyline. Yep.
Yes, the
Yep. It's good.
backstory of Megatron and
Yep.
Prime. It's
Yep.
all animated, but
Yep.
if you're a Transformers fan, I highly recommend it.
Agreed. I've seen it too, and it's pretty darn good.
Yeah. But Fallen
Now,
Prime says, oh, go ahead.
Transformers to me is animated. That's how I watched it when I was a kid. So, like,
Yeah.
to see it that way, it wasn't weird, versus like if you're under 30, you're probably like, no, these are like real machines that
Yeah.
transform
What's
on
the live
screen.
action? Yeah.
Right. It's totally different perspective.
Yeah. So, well, Fallen Prime says, from what I've noticed with Whatnot, people done really bid up just to see people pay more. Maybe he meant don't really. Normally, I've seen people pay more for the big cards like case hits. Mid range goes market price.
And that's what you're going to see with eBay Live once they build it out and it has a real population of sellers to it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
He says, my favorite thing about Whatnot is every once in a while, I can't sleep and I pop into a room at, say, 3, 4 a.m., and I can get some crazy deals on some good cards because you can always find a room starting at $1 and probably without a ton of people in it.
See, now, this is an exact contradiction to what everybody was just talking about, though. If you do it live, you get all 15 times prices.
Yeah.
Now he's coming on
Not
here and
always.
saying, I can get my steals and deals on Whatnot. So you have to understand there are wins and there are losses in something that's this volatile.
Yeah.
You just have to hope your wins outweigh your losses.
Yeah. And he asked the follow up question, how bad are the Whatnot fees compared to eBay's fees? Now, you had this
They're
experience. You can answer this one where I can't.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. I mean, you got to understand that these businesses shop each other out and they're going to be competitive. Um, I actually think Whatnots was a little bit lower. It was like 10.5 to 12%, something like
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
And eBay's like 12.5, 13% in our categories. But if you're top rated seller plus, you can get some of that back. So you start buying it down to a little under 12, I guess, basically.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, not a big enough difference where you're like, well, I'm going here because the fees. Um, it's going to be about the same for you
Right.
either way.
And one more chat for the night. Up next says, great show tonight, y'all. Have a good night and week, everyone. Well, thank you very much
Perfect.
for that.
That's
Very
yeah,
nice.
that's a perfect way out for us. So again, thanks everybody for watching live. We appreciate you. If you're watching this recorded, try to join us live Wednesday, every Wednesday,
Yeah.
8 Central Standard Time. And me, Charlie, and the goats, we haven't seen the goats much. We kind of forget to bring the goats into the show sometimes.
Yeah.
Not as much goat chat as there used to be. We get
Well,
more. We're getting more serious in this show.
speaking of goats, it would be remiss of us not to mention one
Yep.
more time the September Goat Card Show will be coming up Sunday, September 28th. Sunday. So
Correct.
make
That
sure
is
you
the
mark
only.
your calendars if you're in the area.
And that's the only other time we do this live show is we do a live show from the card show floor. Well, uh, to be fair, it's the stage, but we'll do a live show from there. We'll show you some pickups, just give you a general feel of the show. We want to try to include as many people as possible to be able to experience our little show. If you can make it to it live, that would be even better. If you need accommodations, if you're traveling in, we'd be happy to help you out with that. And yeah, so September 28th, or September. Is it September 28th, right? That's right.
September
I don't know. It
28th.
sounded weird. It sounded weird when I said it. September 28th, I just talked to Brianna about this before, but I think she said we're like 75% sold out. So we got a couple tables left. We have a few that are kind of on hold. It's a couple months out yet, so we don't get all the commitments necessarily this early. But we do have our charity lockdown, so we're excited about that. We have our giveaways. There are a couple of our giveaways. We're going to have a few more items for giveaway. We've got our free packs for kids. It's free admission, free parking. Going to have a great food menu as we always do. So very excited about it. And September is a great time to go to a show. Weather's decent, so it's not hot, it's not cold.
Yeah,
There's not quite as much going on. You know, kids are already back in school. And so, yeah, come on out on a Sunday and hang out and get some cool cards.
absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap things up for tonight, Adam. A good show, hot discussion here all the way
Really.
through. Got a lot covered, a lot of opinions shared and experiences shared. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, and there's no right or wrong answer on this stuff. To me, that's what's fun about it. You know, um, a lot of it is opinion and experience and personality, and so I think that's cool because it's at least a self discovery, right? You have to decide what's going to work best for me, what's going to work best for what I'm trying to do, my customers. Um, yeah. So
Yep.
sharing is caring. So
Sharing is
we're all sharing on here, and that all helps us be the best we can be. So thank you everybody for helping us out with that and for making comments and asking questions and providing feedback and experiences. That's going to be the best way for us to all grow.
So I think that's going to do it for us. Just remember, when you see the goat, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
And remember, you can't sell what you don't list or what you don't put in a live show. Have a good night.
Good
We'll see
night,
you next
everyone.
week, Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time.